Your channel. You were moved.
And welcome back to the CLS Closing Club. I will be your play-by-play caster tonight. Primus alongside the Venerable Doctor. How are we doing tonight, Doctor?
Doing good, my dude. Ready to get into this game, KLG versus B2K. Now, a lot of people may be not thinking too much about this game. Obviously, two teams definitely on the lower end of the standings. But KLG maybe looking slightly better than they were last season, and B2K actually having a very good week. Last week, I was quite impressed by the draw they managed to pull out. They played quite well in some of those games, so I'm actually quite excited. And even if it's a pretty bad game, at least we'll get a nice fiesta out of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like a little bit of fun now and then as bands are coming through fast and furious. We have Zaya LeBlanc and Kennen being taken off the table by KLG, while on the other side we're actually seeing Elise, Galio, and Zach. I find it really interesting about the Elise ban, considering how much we see it first picked on blue side, as we're seeing Graves being taken for KLG first.
Yeah, at least very, very highly contested, especially here in the CLS. They really like Elise down here. But the Galio Zap band's very standard if you're on the red side. The Elise maybe slightly standard as well, because you just can't let anyone first pick those. So we're probably going to see an Olaf pickup from Tozzy here. Maybe Lee Sin, but people are quite fond of their Olaf here, down here in the CLS. And then we look at the other bands, Zaya, LeBlanc, Kennen. Just generally strong picks that KLG doesn't want to have to deal with. None of them are 100% ban worthy, but all of them are, yeah, we just don't want this, as Mantaraya, of course, locks in back Graves for Tier Wolf. It's actually Kazakh's going to be the answer for Totti. Bit of a hard matchup for the Kazakhs. Not too hard because...
Also, the whole prevalence of Kazakhs on this patch has been really interesting. Like, we haven't really seen Kazakhs until the last couple of baxes, and all of a sudden he is so high prioritized throughout the regions. Do you know why that is, Doctor?
I mean, Kazakhs, he's quite strong. It's also just that all the other junglers are kind of getting banned now that we have this 10 ban system. He's in a pretty decent spot, though, right now. Slightly better than Rengar and Olaf, but slightly worse than Elise. Than Elise and Lee Sin. So I would have expected to see the Lee Sin here. But Kazakhs is A-OK, also doesn't have to worry about a Tahm Kench pick coming out because it's already been locked in for his team.
Yeah, it does give them a little bit more safety coming in, as we are seeing T-Wolf and Plugo picking up the bot lane for Fix and Slow with Caitlyn Braum, very standard bot lane, especially with Braum into the melee matchups, does generally have a lot of success. While Cassio blind pick, I do like rotationing the Cassio last, just because you can ban out the counters that you would want to deal with, or you can pitch top lane, which is look like they're going with here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that he would blind pick the Cassio, because there are some worse matchups. For example, the Vladimir is still open. Usually you see the red side leave their mid lane until the very, very last pick. So we would expect Elefante to be picking it, and then it's probably going to be Syndra, because you can force a Syndra ban from the blue side, because if they don't ban Syndra's counters, you can first pick Syndra. It's like if they ban the Syndra, you just pick something else, and if they don't ban it, you just pick it in your last slot. But actually, B2K going to be the ones banning out the Syndra this time around. Does leave Vladimir open though.
They're not really pinching any specific roles. We're seeing a lot of AD carry bans taking out the other two S tier ADC picks with the Varus and Ashe ban, and of course Kled and Syndra being banned by B2K. Where do you think they're going to go here? Do you think they're going to pick up their ADC and leave top lane for last, or are they going to leave their ADC pick for last?
I mean, there's no real reason to leave their ADC pick to us, because if they go for the top lane pick as their last pick, then they can guarantee themselves a good matchup. So it looks like it's going to be that Tristana picked up for Gato down there. Tristana into Caitlyn, bit of a rough matchup, because Caitlyn has such the advantage early on with her range, but that is a Tahm Kench going to be in the support slot there, so going to be able to save Gato if things start to get rough.
Plus, she does have that rocket jump, as we are going to see Orianna and Shen rounding out the composition for KLG. I do rather like the composition they're drafting for the side of KLG. My only concern is their mid-game damage output with the two very late-game scaling carries in Orianna and Caitlyn.
I really actually like the KLG comp. Like you said, they are going to lack a little bit in the mid game, especially since Caitlyn getting nerfed. Of course, the Hurricane nerfs coming out, so she will struggle with her mid game damage. She gets a little bit of burst now, getting Shiv as opposed to Hurricane to kind of make up for it, but will be quite weak. I don't think the Orianna is going to be too weak once she gets her dual pen items and Morello on top of that. She's going to be a-okay, as we actually see the Jarvan picked up. Thorgos going to play that into Mantaraya Shen, just trying to bully him out as much as possible, and he will be able to cancel a Stand United with his flag and drag, should he so desire.
Yes, I do like Jarvan into tank matchups on this patch, just because he is such a strong pick into tanks with the amount of armor penetration, plus the passive of his martial cadence, giving him that percent current HP damage. Looking at both comps, like we're lacking like a very traditional front line for the side of B2K. Do you think that's going to inhibit their team comps, or do they have enough damage that they can just power through team fights?
Yeah, I think B2K are going to be okay without having their sort of traditional frontliner, because they have Tom Kench, who can frontline to an extent, and then can bail out anyone else who may have accidentally found themselves in the front line. Also, the Jarvan pick not going to be too squishy. He does get quite a lot of help with his Black Fever and his Titanic Hydra, but I really like the composition of KLG. Very standard comp, very traditional, multi-threat. Okay, we'll just get a super tank in the top that can, it's going to be a Shen, so he's got Stand United to save the character. We've got our, long-range ADC who's going to be taking down the towers with Caitlyn, and then also Graves and Orianna, two champions, definitely going to be holding their own, dishing out a fair bit of damage, and Orianna going to be able to shield, all three of the carries in that composition. Really nice to have a super tank, have a support that can peel, mid laner that can shield and go more utility if you need it, and then two high damage marksmen.
Very good to see a very standard composition for Viscers, a more damage-oriented composition. We did see we are going to see a Infernal Drake for the first Drake of the game. Definitely going to be a big priority here as we're going to go ahead and introduce the teams on the blue side. We have Monteraya in the top lane, Tierwolf in the jungle, Plugo rocking in the mid lane. We have Fix and Slow rounding out their bot lane.
And over on the red side of the map, we have Born to Kill with Ghosts on the Jarvan top lane, Podio the Kazakhs, Jungle Gambit on the Cassiopeia mid, and Gatorcrack and Elefante with the Tristana and Tom Kench bottom lane.
So I do remember on patches in the past about how Orianna's kind of considered a soft counter to Cassio. Do you still think that's very viable with the advent of the corrupting pot starts for Cassiopeia, or do you still think Orianna does have a little bit of play around in order to try to delay the Cassio?
Yeah, I'm no mid lane specialist, but I do think it's slightly sided to the Orianna, but honestly, just a good gank from Tosi or from Tierwolf can really just swing the lane in someone's favor. Plugo can afford to deal with some of those trades that you will get from a Cassiopeia because he has the self shield, obviously, and can buff the magic resist just by having the ball on you. Can actually push faster than the Cassiopeia as well, so that is going to help out. But I really think as long as Toti comes in to help out Gambite, it should be fine for B2K.
So looking at how these lanes are set up here, where do you think each teams are going to be looking to prioritize here? Do you think we're going to see a lot of focus in that mid lane, or is it going to be in the top lane, or is it going to be down in that bot lane with the more weaker early game Tristana up against in such a lane bully in the Caitlyn?
Well, if we think about Toti's plan for this game, top lane he doesn't care about. Top lane is a-okay. Goss is going to win that lane. It's kind of hard to gank Mantaraya on that Shen, so he's just going to leave Goss to do his own thing. He'll get his own lead. In the bottom lane, it's a Tam, Kench, and Tristana, so there's not very much in the way of setup. I mean, sure, Elefante has a bit of crowd control, but it's very obvious, very telegraphed, which means that KLG are definitely going to know if he's coming in for a gank. So I definitely think Toti's going to want to spend his time in the mid lane, try and get Gambite ahead, and then they can try and make a play happen down bot. Because really, we've seen this from B2K before. We saw it last week. It was very surprising to me that they're such a new team, but they will play the game so slowly, so controlled, and just try to make as few mistakes as possible, and then capitalize on their enemies. So we may not even see too much early pressure from Toti at all. Of course, that was a bit of a problem in the first game that they played last week, which ended up in their draw versus Last Kings, I believe it was. So yes. A little bit of action in the mid game, in the middle lane. But yeah, their first game versus Last Kings was That was a bit of a resident sleeper, but the second game much better. So Totally definitely going to spend his time in the mid lane. They just wait for Gatocrack and Gambite to scale because there is insane late game damage coming out of those two.
Yeah, I feel like if B2K can stall to the late game, like the amount of damage that their composition has with the scaling jungler, the scaling mid laner, and the scaling ADC give them a lot of team fight potential. The only concern is, as we are seeing Tierwolf hovering around this top side here. It is a Jarvan, so he does have a lot of escapability. The crux is whether or not he uses that Dragon Strike or the flag offensively, and that limits his ability to get out. It looks like he might end up face checking Tierwolf. Tierwolf not able to get in range. Nice taunt on the backside. Cuss is eating a lot of damage, has no escapes left, but is able to save the flash, just not quite enough damage yet on the Graves, because Shen not very well known for his burst damage, to say the least.
If you think Shen doesn't have burst damage, you haven't been playing Fervor Shen. Level 1, level 2. No, like legit, Fervor Shen has a level 2 power spike you wouldn't believe. No one expects it. But in any case, very nice awareness, game knowledge from Goss there. Just he senses something's wrong, doesn't go for the aggressive flag drag, also gets the ward off, he spots out Tierwolf and manages to get out without burning anything, just wasting Tierwolf's time, which means Tosi can move in, pick up those chickens as we see a potential 3v3 bot.
Fix. Flash Tongue Lash is getting a lot of slows. Toady is
Teleport.
in position, but teleport on the backside. Double TPs coming in here. Toady, but they both get canceled. Oh, jeez. I feel like that's like just teasing us of a big bot lane fight. It's just like, we're gonna both TP, and it's just like, nah.
We were so close to seeing the 5-minute 5v5. Both the junglers were in the area. Tierwolf is just behind Toti. Mid laners were running down, teleports coming out, and everybody backs off because Alphante, I don't believe he managed to get an aggressive Devour or Tunlash stun off. And everyone just calms down and goes back to farming.
Yeah, but he does burn both of his summoners there on Lafante, so very vulnerable on this Tahm Kench. Yes, he does have the gray health to keep him safe, but with the amount of setup that you have between Slow and Tierwolf with the damage as well as Fix is traps, like I feel like this, if they allow B2K to push out, because that's one of the weaknesses of Tristana with the auto push from the explosive shot, or explosive charge I think is what it's technically called now, is you can very easily punish Lafante's lack of mobility on that Tahm Kench.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt Alphante not having his summoners available. They did trade the flash from Fix, but Exhaust and Flash are actually pretty important for Tahm Kench to have, so he can get on people, make aggressive plays, sort of go for the Tongue Lash, Flash, Auto Tongue Lash. It's the sort of traditional combo there. But yeah, like you said, Fix just going to want to be pushing this in, try and keep Gatocrack under tower, get some damage off if he can, because it will be very hard for Tristana to farm under tower due to that explosive charge. Although it is always nice to have a Targon's using support when you're playing Tristana under tower, because they can pick up the CS that you're going to miss. As once again we see Toti hang around in the bot side, but his bot lane kind of just want to recall right now.
Yes, they are being forced quite low, and we are seeing a bit of a CS lead as to be expected here in a Caitlyn matchup. Lots of trading coming in on the top lane. Gus doesn't really have any tank sets, so the consistent low cooldown on that key strike is able to allow Monterrey to get a little bit of lane priority here with the amount of armor he's been able to stack up already.
Yeah, definitely going for a high armor build. Of course, if Gambite roams up to that top lane, it's going to be pretty bad.
Aggressively, are not quite able, Fix not quite in range to proc the concussive blows. But fortunately, there's a thing called a Tahm Kench, and Tahm Kench is like the most anti-fun champion in the game. I still remember when he came out and just like, nope, you just don't get to have fun.
It's pretty useful champion to have. You know, a lot of people complain about Tahm Kench's Devour and Soraka's entire kit. I still think the most annoying ability to play against, the most soul-crushing, not Devour, not Wish, not whatever the Soraka here was called. It's the Soraka Silence.
Oh, Equinox, yeah.
It's the silence, 100%. You don't realize you've been silenced because you don't take damage. There's no travel time or anything. It's usually a surprise, at least to me. And then, B, it's instant AoE, no cast time, no travel time, what's like cast time? If every time it's so anti-fun, so we see a gank.
Oh, we are seeing Cataclysm come in. The top lane is going to force the flash out of Monteraya.
Right, forced to flash on out of that one, but he does at least to get both the ultimates of Toti and Goss for himself, as Tearwolf is ready.
Oh, Tearwolf is going to get jumped on by Estrado. Stand United is going to come in, so they are going to secure that red buff, but Stand United is burned, and that is a rather long cooldown for relatively little return.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty big for B2K, only losing a red buff for that Stand United cooldown. Totally something that Toti is okay with. He will now try to run down to the bottom lane. We've got Infernal Dragon and the First Blood Tower still available. So he's going to want to try and make some sort of 5v5 happen, 5v4. Of course, Goss has his teleport available as well. So whilst both TPs can be traded, there's still Goss will get the overall advantage if he can try and force Mantarai to use his teleport as well. Because then once Stand United and TP are off the table, Goss can just do what he wants in that 1v1 matchup.
Yes, it is going to be interesting to see how this top lane and how they play around the globals from the side of KLG for B2K. Because I do think that the amount of power they do have available at the level 6 with the Abyssal Voyage and the Buster Shot, you can't ever underestimate that burst damage that you get from Tristana once she hits level 6.
Yeah, she really does start to get quite a lot of damage. Like I said, people don't really expect it, but she does have a fair bit of burst as she experiences a fair bit of burst, taking that Peacemaker and the headshot there. Speaking of burst, one thing I really do want to point out we haven't spoken about yet is Toti is running Thunderlord's Decree on that Kha'Zix there. You can run either Thunderlords or you can run Storm Raiders. Personally, I'm of the opinion that Storm Raiders is better. I think it's one of the best Keystone Masteries in the game. It's very, very fun, but it does mean that versus Plugo's slow and Slow's ultimate slow, he is going to be hit quite hard by those because he won't have the slow reduction from Storm Raider's Surge. And also he is getting less effectiveness out of his ultimate because he can cover less ground whilst he's stealthed. The trade-off being he is going to have that slight bit of extra damage, so we're going to have to see, is that Thunderlord's damage going to justify that Keystone choice? So he's just going to recall and then probably run straight back towards the bot lane and try and make something happen because they really want that Infernal Dragon, and both teams looking for that and the First Blood Tower.
So something I do want to ask about here is you mentioned it earlier with the Shiv growing in popularity with the Caitlyn. Is that something that we're seeing more and more, or do things still like rapid fire can? As we are seeing Engage, Tearwolf is here, but Flash did come back up for Lafante, so just giving up a Flash, but that can't be a return visit for Tearwolf.
Yeah, just to get on to what you were saying before you were so rudely interrupted by Alfante losing his Flash. Shiv is slightly better than Rapid Fire Cannon in the vacuum, as it looks like KLG will be starting this dragon off. No one knows about it, but Alfante will face check.
Yeah, Lafante has no flash available, does have great health, but not able to use it as he gets shut down by the Glacial Fisher.
Oh, the reload!
Reload too strong. Tearwolf is going to proc the concussive blows with the... Oh,
nice flash.
Nice flash from Toddy. Dodging out on the shockwave, but more trading in the bot lane. Gus for super low is going to drop to fix. Gambite does get one kill in trade. He's going to get hit by the concussive blows and is just slowly going to get autoed to death. So that ended up being a 4-for-2 trade in the end.
B2K definitely employing the highly controversial one-at-a-time strategy there. Just try and make it work. Everyone forced out to fight as the next person could get there. So it wasn't quite the traditional one-at-a-time strat, but what it ended up being is nice taunt from Mantaraya.
Taunt is going to blow him up with the Piltover Peacemaker coming in. However, Abyssal Voyage is on the backside. Plugo is able to get out with slivers of health.
Oh, the
flash slow with the key strike. Oh, dear God, the command distance blowing up Gatarak with another taunt. Grey Health is keeping Lafante alive, but he just can't find the last tongue lash to secure any kills.
That's really bad for B2K. Okay, so they both die, low the Abyssal Voyage, and both die again. Everyone getting out so low. Gatorcrack could have finished them both in one auto because of the explosive charge passive. They were stood next to each other. They just couldn't decide who to go for, couldn't stick on who they needed to stick onto. And that's the story of that entire fight, as B2K really come out behind in that one. Now 4,000 lead for KLG, as Gambite just going to walk away from this one.
Yeah, not too much pressure onto Gambite, though he has no summoners, as we are going to go into this replay. Why don't you talk us through it, Doc?
So Elefante doesn't get his great health off. He's chain CC through the whole thing. Gatorcrack nearly getting out alive, courtesy of the stun. But we see the TP coming inside from Goss. He can clear this up for 1v3. The downside is he thinks Toti is here, but Toti is dueling the Orianna mid. And then, of course, saved by the Stand United. Gambite's here now. Goss, like you were saying earlier, no tank stats. So he goes and does all the damage. It gets blocked by the Stand United, and then he just gets gunned down. A bit of a mistake from Gambite, if you ask me here, is turning back to try and do that damage. Because the Braum was dead, because Slow was dead, he could have tried to just run and stop those stacks from coming out, but he tries to trade back a Twin Fangs onto Fix, which means he gets hit for that last concussive blows stack, gets stunned up, can't do any healing, and does go down. Maybe that slight misplay could have swung the fight for him. We will never know.
Yes, we will never know because it is in the past now. So, reassessing how things stand after that fight, you have double kills on Monterey, you have double kills on Tierwolf, and you have double kills on your Caitlyn here for KLG. Really accelerating that late game power that you're getting here with so many kills on both your front line and two of your primary carries here for KLG. What can B2K do to try to mitigate this amount of power that they have after that massive team fight in the bot lane?
Well, we saw B2K last week showing that their strength was sort of to wait for the opposition to make mistakes and then capitalize on them. So this game is very uncharacteristic of them, but they're actually trying to make these aggressive plays. Elefante maybe stood a bit too far up, but he has great help if he needs it. Gatorcrack still has the jump available too, so he's going to be A-OK as mid lane.
Oh, Shockwave coming in. Nice dodge from Plugo, but the amount of damage from Cassio. Oh, that's one of the quote-unquote fun things about Cassio. You know, that whole 0.75 second cooldown on Twin Fangs.
Oh, nice dodge from Plugo, though. Plugo actually, I think, died with heal up. Nah, heal just about to come up. But very nice dodge of the Petrifying Gaze there from Plugo. And you were just saying, you know, what do B2K have to do to win this game? Well, we're just showing us. Gambit has to do everything to win this game. He's 3-1. He's definitely his team's carry. 100% of the kills. Just see a nice trade. He actually dodges out the vital Q there. If that Q had hit him, he would have gone down. The Ghost gonna save his skin there as he heals up off the creep, so he doesn't die to them. 3-1 onto Gambite. He's got his double stacking items on the way. Roa just purchased, has that tier as well. Now looking to build towards a Banshee's Veil there. Just get himself a little bit of extra magic resist. Make it a bit harder for him to get caught out. And it's very much on Gambite. So we're going to see Elefante go, Gezo, you know what, mate? You're on your own. Elefante going to be sitting on Gambite, who's now ghostless. Trying to keep him alive as best he can. Maybe they can make some flanks happen. You take Toti in the Abyssal Voyage and then get a nice teleport from
Rift
Goss.
Herald being started up here, but the pink ward is taken out on the backside. Yes, I know it's control ward, but I will pretty much always call it a pink ward because, you know, NA, we never call things proper names. As we are going to see the Rift Herald taken up here. Who do you think is the optimal person to take Rift Herald? Do you think it's going to be the jungle? Or I know I've seen a lot in other regions, the support ends up being the one who takes it.
I think the ADC, if you can get it on them. Because the thing is, you don't want it on your top laner. They need their wards to split, so they need to have access to their trinket. Jungler, you can put it on, it's fine, because they're going to be recalling the most, usually. But again, they kind of want their wards to get deep vision down. The only champion that doesn't really need their wards is the ADC, as we actually see Exhaust.
We're going to see Rift Herald being summoned. Exhaust is used. Shockwave flashed away from Lafante. I feel like Lafante is just flashing on cooldown. Gus is coming in with a massive classicism, throwing in everyone into the pit, but there's no damage follow-up as Gus just dies valiantly for his team.
It was a hero 1v5. Nice.
Oh, Plugo just command dissonance, just taking Lafante off the map as we're going to see a fair bit of chip damage on this. Flash taunt taking Toti.
Let's
Oh,
see it.
Gambit's trying to do something on the backside here, but it looks like they are just going to disengage on the side of KLG.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to make anything happen quite here. But yeah, very hero play from Goss, like you were saying, goes for the 5-man Cataclysm, just doesn't have the damage. Team fighting is not this Jarvan build specialty. It's very much a split pusher, can kind of 1v2, but not going for the 1v5. And I feel like quite a few times this game, we've just seen Alfante stood too far forward. Now, usually he's been able to save himself with his Grey health, but clearly we saw not this time. Once again, he steps too far forward and Plugo says, fine, free kill, flash, Q, W, kill. It's really as easy as that for Plugo, who is now 4-1-2, not going for the dual pen items, instead going for Morello's into a Luden's. Going to have so much burst damage there, even versus the tanks.
Where do you kind of stand on that? Because I know you mentioned the power of the double pen build, but I feel like that is more common into more tankier compositions, while we see the Ludens build against more squishy team compositions. Where do you think?
I'd argue quite the opposite, because the dual pen gives they both give flat magic penetration, so very very good. But they both give 15 each, and every squishy champion in the game, with a few exceptions, I think there's like 1-2 people who start with slightly less, have 30 magic resist. That's it. So if you get both, you are doing true damage to your opponent. You throw some magic pen quints in and that one mastery, and then you some magic pen reds and that one mastery, and then you're even getting rid of the magic resist glyphs that your opponent may have as well. So it's really really good if you're versus a full squishy comp. If you're not, it's not too great. Versus Mantaraya. Oh, hold up.
Oh, flash petrifying gaze does lock up Fix Undertower. However, he is going to eventually fall to the poison. But unfortunately, Lafante being the sacrifice for his team once again, sitting at 0-4 on that Tom Kench.
And once again, Alfante going down before he can manage to get his grey health off. But that's an AOK trade for B2K. They get they get shutdown gold onto Fix just because they are 2-0. That's technically a spree. And of course, taking out the Caitlyn means that KLG can no longer push that bottom lane, whereas losing the Tam Kench doesn't actually matter too much to them. So they're okay with this exchange. Just get a little bit more gold into Gambit's pocket, and hopefully he can try and carry this game. He's now sitting on 2 items, and I'd like to see how stacked that tier is. But he hasn't picked up a needlessly large rod for his Sarax and Grace quite just yet.
I'm probably assuming he's probably sitting between 500 and 600 stacks on that, generally speaking.
I believe he got it quite late, like relative to how early an Ezreal would get it, say. So I think maybe like 500, 550 is pretty accurate.
However, as we were talking about earlier, is the prevalence of Shiv. We did see Fix actually still picking up the Hurricane. What do you think his thought process is on that?
Okay, so yeah, still picking up the Hurricane, still trying to go for that mid-game teamfight. It's still fine for mid-game teamfighting. You're still getting a lot of attack speed and putting out a lot of AoE damage. The only issue is you are now not stacking the headshots off of the extra bolts. It's still okay. Most people would argue that it's inferior to Shiv, but this is consistent AoE damage, whereas Shiv, you just get that one-time burst, which may even go onto the minions. So we'll have to see if it pays out for Fix. Of course, the other thing is when you get the bonus range from having a trap or netted target, that actually applies onto the bolts as well. So it's quite useful in that situation as well. So it's not a terrible item. It's just arguably worse, but Fix wants to pick it up this time around. He thinks this is one of the situations where it could be better, and he's the pro player, so I'll take his word for it.
So we did see the mid-tier 2 tower fall in the bot lane as CLS is eating a lot of trade damage from Monteraya, but Flag and Drag is a very useful combo to get him out of scot-free. Monteraya is taking control of the side lane.
That's really not how this matchup should be going. Oh, hold up. Fix takes a fair bit, but Toddy forced to jump out.
So there's that Thunderlord's damage you were talking about.
Yeah, wow. Really secured him the kill. Hog champ, my dude. And I'm personally very much a fan of Storm Raiders on Kha'Zix. It's so nice, especially when coupled with the slow from the passive, and because you get the speed boost when you're stealth, so you get the You get more value from that Void Assault. Although the amount of times that someone has lived on about 20 HP because you're not running Thunderlords, it's truly painful as we see KLG moving up to take this tower. They've got the traps, they've got the ball, and they've got Caitlyn range, so not really too much that B2K can do to hold this one. And bearing in mind that Gambite is playing Cassiopeia, they don't even have a wave clear mage such as an Ari or an Orianna or maybe a Victor. So that is definitely a big weakness in this comp of B2K.
Yeah, not even with the Tristana do you really have any good semblance of wave gear.
Oh,
Gus trying to do what he can in the bot lane, but
that Titanic Hydra cleared the entire wave.
Don't you love that item?
That was clean, my dude. But yeah, this is a pretty grim for Goss right now. You would really be expecting the Jarvan to be the one making the aggressive plays onto the Shen. Manta Ray just has so much armor, but Goss does have his Black Cleaver. But I think it's part of the thing is Jarvan or AD Jarvan. It's kind of like a Xintao or like a Master Yi where you don't run, you go in. It's always a death match, with those champions, and I feel like that's kind of the issue here for Goss is he's getting taunted, gets hit by the 3 empowered autos from Manta Ray, from that Spirit Blade. And then goes, oh, taking too much damage, and dashes out. Takes that flag drag out. Maybe if he took the flag drag in, he'd be able to trade back and then escape on a more even trade. Or maybe not. Of course, we do see that Manta Ray had the lead when it comes to number of Titanic Hydras owned up until now, as Goss has managed to even out that little score. And again, Goss just taking damage on the escape there, on the way out. And Manta Ray still sitting on full health.
Yeah, I just feel like the difference at this point in the matchup is the fact that you are having resist versus no resist. Talty has to flash. Otherwise, that would have been Glacial Fissure into Shockwave, and that would have been a dead Kha'Zix.
Yeah, no amount of Thunderlord's going to save you in this situation. As we see another Infernal Dragon coming up next. If my Spanish is correct, yeah, Fuego does indeed mean Infernal. I'm too clean.
Triple Fire Drake for a team with Kha'Zix, Orianna, and Graves. Tell me that does not sound terrifying.
That's pretty nice for KLG. And really, if we just take a second to look at the compositions of these teams, KLG kind of just seem to have the better comp in almost every regard. They've got Orianna Caitlyn, so they got a better siege. They have a better tank, who right now, because he managed to get those early kills, get that early Titanic Hydra, is winning the 1v1 and getting the push priority, over Goss, who picked this Jarvan to try and beat up, try and bully Manta Ray on this Shen. And it's really all the B2K have going for them is single target damage. So if they can get the right fight, sure, they've got Tristana, Cassiopeia, Kha'Zix. They can melt one person with the Tristana. They can melt one tower. If they had Mountain Dragons, they would do Baron in less than a second, but not the case. So not something KLG have to worry about. Gambite's maybe a bit far up. Toti's in the area, but I wonder what he can really do. Going to use the Ace and Hole to blow that, what we call it, the Banshee's Veil there. Meaning that Slow can go for a flash Glacial Fissure if he wants, but not going to, so the Banshee's Veil will come off cooldown about 25 more seconds.
Yeah, I would just say just keeping Manta Ray in the side lane is probably the best thing for KLG to do.
Oh yeah, and they have Slow as a front line.
Yeah, so there's no reason for them to actually force plays. It's just they are trying to start up the Baron here. They do have control ward in the pit. Tati's not in position, and it just falls almost immediately. Shockwave is going to blow Tati off the map. That would be a very strong Orianna right now. Petrifying
pretty good.
Gaze.
Pretty good. 6-1. That's okay. 3 items, 1 from being a void staff, so no one is safe as Fix. Netting in, the man does not care, but just Fante there with the save.
Yeah, that rapid fire cannon giving her that extra bit of burst damage. It should be an inhibitor falling for the side of KLG, and I would say this game just really hasn't had any team fights outside of that one Baron pit, as we are going to see the TP from Manta Ray trying to buy as much time for them to get damage onto this Graceful Fissure, trying to buy themselves some more time, but they're only going to get to one. Flash Taunt does land onto Gambate, but he is able to survive. Goss goes in trying to secure something, but he keeps going in vain.
Okay. Oh, hang about. Oh, see.
Tati. I feel like Tati's like a magnet for shockwaves right now, as I do believe KLG will be able to finish off the game here. Just a few more kills to pad that KDA, as it is going to be KLG winning the game in just under 29 minutes.
Pretty quick, pretty decisive game there for KOG. Definitely earning that win there. I think they really won it in. I mean, I thought they won it in Champions, so kind of. Their comp was just better. It was more defined, had more strengths, whereas B2K's competition was kind of more, okay, well, we just like these picks. They've got decent late game. Yeah, okay, fine. These are kind of decent matchups. Let's try and work with it. The Tristana is a pick that B2K go for quite often because of what I said earlier about how they go for this sort of, okay, we'll just play it slow and conservative, try and capitalize on our enemies' mistakes. And I'll be really interested to see how they adapt at this stage, because this is looking quite a lot like what happened in their last series versus Last Kings, where in the first game they played very defensive, made no proactive moves whatsoever. And as it turned out, they did end up losing the game because the only time any action happened in that game was in the final fight, or a fight and suddenly everyone's got 50-second death timers, and the game's sort of just over. So I'd be interested to see if we see B2K going for more aggressive plays now, trying to be the ones to make things happen. Because what it seemed to me happened in this game is they're sort of playing kind of defensive. Then we saw that big fight down bottom lane. And then, B2K kind of thought, oh, we have to get something happening, so they go for the Abyssal Voyage into the 2v3, and then they just die again. And by that point, you've got to be pretty tilted when it's 8 minutes in, 10 minutes in, die, respawn, die in the space of 20 seconds. Got to be pretty painful. That would do things to your psyche, and then once you've got a lead like that onto a Caitlyn or Orianna, really, all B2K or all KLG, had to do was just run around and knock down all the towers.
Yeah, I definitely would have to agree with you on that point. So as we are getting ready to go into game 2 here, what would you like to see from B2K? You say you like to play this more passive game style. And the Tristana pick is something that you mentioned, but I feel like, in all honesty, like Jinx would be on paper a better matchup while still providing that same demolition and late game scaling. Why is the preference on the Tristana? Is it just because of the mobility and safety you have and ability to self-peel on the Tristana over the Jinx? Because I think the Jinx has a far better matchup into the Caitlyn in terms of landing phase.
I mean, yeah, you've kind of just answered it for yourself, really. I mean, the Jinx, because they do tend to pair it with the Time Kench, we have seen this Tristana Time Kench lane before from B2K. If you had a Jinx in that situation as opposed to a Tristana, having a Time Kench is very useful because, you can just save her, even if she doesn't have any way to save herself. Other than really be flame jumpers. But like you said, Tristana just very safe, can jump out, can peel, can play a slow lane, and just chill, turtle, farm it up, can get the Blade of the Rune King. I didn't particularly like the Blade of the Rune King. I would like to see a more traditional build. But Blade is it's a-okay, especially versus that Shen up in top lanes. We do fire into a replay. This is Elfante's vision, as he thinks they may well be on the Dragon. So T-Wolf just dashes out straight into melee range. He knows they have the advantage in the 2v3, he knows that Slow is going to hit that Q, that's trust. Gatecrack really doing everything a bit too late. The second that Elfante went down, Gatecrack should just W-flash immediately. Instead, he waits a little bit too long, gets the exhaust as well. We see Gambit, ghosting in. It's really sad that he doesn't actually get the Miasma to land. Because if he had flashed, ulted Miasma, it would have stopped Mantaraya taunting him. And here's what I was talking about. He takes that step back to go for the QE onto Fix, gets stunned by the concussive blows, and I think that did make the difference. And finally, Toti turns up because he was 1v1ing Fugo in the mid lane. Forced to blow his flash, dodging out the shockwave there. And then sort of just walks up and goes down, trying to maybe bait for Elfante a little bit. And so Elfante takes this Abyssal Voyage thinking it's going to be a 3v3. Of course, it very quickly turns into a 2v3. Alright, here, Elfante is making the aggressive play, because he thinks that they can take down Fix, but this whole time Gatecrack is being zoned away by Mantaraya. So you think, should Gatecrack have tried to jump in and get a reset onto Fix, or should Elfante have been playing it more defensively and trying to peel for Gator? I think that Elfante was correct there. with his sort of more aggressive play, but he should have recognized, hey, if Gato's not coming, I can't do this alone. He was so close to getting that burst. Maybe if he'd borrowed the Thunderlord's degree from Toadsie, he would have got that kill. I mean, and he doesn't, and they both
Thunderlords
ended up
can
going
let
down.
us see the day.
Dude, yeah, Q flash, auto Q. But proc your Thunderlords, get your full stacks, get your Devour, you're good to go.
Yes, I do feel like the other thing in that composition is I think Gato may have misjudged his damage onto Plugo, because I think Plugo lived with like 20 to 30 HP after that final explosive shot, so he may have been relying upon that in order to get the reset.
Maybe. It could well have been it. It's so sad when you try to set up for your resets, and they just manage to live. You think, maybe if he had a different support, so it's who could run Ignite or something, it would be different. But he had the catch, they liked that lane, just didn't manage to get any of the kills in that situation. And then, really, this starts to mess with your head, and you've now got a very fed Orianna who can dictate the control of the game from the mid lane, just creating pressure, getting that mid lane priority, and then moving up, roaming. They went and got all the towers all over the place. Very easy to do when you've got snap traps and a ball, and no one can walk anywhere near you. And this whole time, I think Goss was thinking, oh, I'm Jarvan. I need to be man mode. I need to be making these plays. We kept seeing him go for these all-in cataclysms. I think he finished the game at 0-5 and something.
He still had a better score than Foxy did earlier today on Jarvan, so...
Oh. Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't say it's all doom and gloom. He did lose the 1v1 to Monteraya on the Shen, but... He didn't get caught out a lot, though. It was basically him going in and dying. That's what it was.
Yeah, really going in when he couldn't afford to because he wasn't tanky enough. It really didn't help him that, of course, Mantaraya got so much from that early fight. Because the Jarvan, it's very much you play it as a lane bully, then you transition into the tank once your opponent becomes tanky as well. And because Mantaraya got such an accelerated build, Goss is sat there going, alright, I'm damaged, I'm Jarvan, yeah, let's do it. And it's like, oh, you finished your Tabby, Sunfire Cape, and now you're working and you've got your Titanic Hydra. Okay, so I guess I just don't do any damage, and if you don't do damage, you don't do anything. So pretty unfortunate for Goss there, but he should have been able to adapt to that. Maybe try to make some TP plays happen. Just try and get something proactive done on the map, as opposed to just constantly throwing himself at Mantaraya, or more accurately, throwing himself away from Mantaraya after losing out on those trades.
Yes, so it's going to be interesting to see here. I honestly don't see any reason for KLG to change anything in terms of their picks and bans. Do you think there's anything B2K is going to look to change coming into this latter half of the set in terms of picks and bans, or do you think they just need to fix out their composition rather than adjusting any of their bans?
Well, now that we've changed sides, we see the Elise and Zac are going to potentially be open for Toddy if he wants them. I think the Elise would have been quite nice just to bring a little bit of crowd control and picks / peel for his team there. The Tristana Tam Kench, that's fine. It's a very weak lane, but KLG know that and they can play around it. They're fine. That fits to their style. B2K can play around it and it fits to their style that they're used to. So they're going to want to try and pull that one out again. Gambite's Cassiopeia mid, that was fine. I didn't particularly like the, picking your mid lane in your first pick phase as red side, and I wasn't too much a fan of that, but it's okay, it worked out. He was doing quite well, but I would very much like to see Goss on a bit of a tankier champion, maybe against the Galio if that's open, or someone that he can play aggressively without having to jump into 5 people. It seemed like he just had a bit of untapped aggression that wasn't sort of being appropriately managed in that game.
So maybe something like the Kled maybe coming in for Gus, or...
Yeah, the Kled would be pretty nice, would fit to his style. Of course, the Kled is very feast and famine though, so he could fall into the same issues as the Jarvan. Maybe if the Kennon's open, that's just something he can play it quite aggressively, but you still know you can't run into 5 people if you're playing AD. So we'll have to see. Again, I think he had the principle of the Jarvan down. I would like to see him going in more as opposed to out more when it was in the 1v1. Maybe he was just too behind in items. If you want to play aggressively, Jarvan top is definitely for you, but I really think that team needed a sort of super tank in their front line. And a bit more wave clear on the mid lane, now I think about it.
Or just something more wave clear focused, like maybe something like an Asher Varus out of the AD Zero. So we are going to take a short break here. as the teams are resetting. We should be back here hopefully in no more than 10 to 15 minutes with Game 2 of Chaos Latin Gamers versus B2K. We'll be right back. And we are back casting game 2 of the CLS. Apologize for the bit of boosted delay here. I am back once again alongside Doctor. I am, of course, Primus here, going into game 2 of B2K versus KLG as we see B2K immediately taking the Caitlyn off the table.
Definitely gonna take that one straight off. Odd to see the Elise ban as well from the blue side. The Crack doesn't want to play it. Probably gonna play his Tristan out once again. So to take that off the table for Fix. Don't want to first pick it either. Probably gonna want to first pick the jungler, as we do see Elise and Zac off the table, meaning that Kha'Zix, Graves, and Olaf all still available.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see where B2K chooses to go with their first pick here. I do find it interesting that they still banned Elise on blue side rather than looking to possibly first pick it for Tati. Maybe they're just not having that big of priority for him on Elise personally, as we are seeing actually Gragas the rabble rouser being taken away. Did it go
really odd? Really odd to see the Gragas ban away. Probably going to see a Kha'Zix pick up here for Toti. Whereas the last jungle left. Actually going to go for the least decent matchup into the Kha'Zix. Doesn't really make me wonder why they banned out the Gragas though. Maybe they have some sort of secret top lane pick that I'm not thinking of. Because the only champion I can think that Gragas completely ruins is Kindred. And definitely don't want to be picking that one right now.
Wait. Kindred's still a champion?
Feels 250k mastery, man.
Oh Jesus!
No.
We actually are seeing KLG picking up the Xayah immediately. Are we gonna see? Nope. They're actually. I do like the Braum takeaway here, with how Braum can pretty much negate everything Xayah wants to do in a team fight.
Yeah, definitely. Braum is a very, very effective counter to the Xayah. So denying that one away from Elfante, and that just works really well with Xayah as well. You know, she's got an attack speed story, so it's always nice to have an ADC that can speed themselves up to help when it comes to proccing those stuns. So slow playing Braum for the second time this series. We actually saw that the Xayah was banned last series, so it looks like KLG. Yeah, just know they have to pick up the Kha'Zix, otherwise it will be banned in that second phase by B2K.
Yes, as we are seeing B2K rounding out their bot lane with the spring special. Ashe Zyra going on into the bot lane. This is a very punishing bot lane for KLG to go into. However, with how Fix and Slow played in the last game, I don't know how much trouble they'll actually have in terms of a 2v2 here.
Yeah, this is definitely different to what Gator Dragon Elfante usually plays. Very aggressive, very proactive lane. I said they were going to try and do something a bit more proactive this time around, but this may be a bit too much. It really is going to be on Gator Crack to be hitting these arrows. We might see some nice flash engagements from Elfante as well. We're just going to have to see.
It's going to be interesting as we are seeing Kled, Fizz, and LeBlanc being taken away here. Do you expect KLG to first pick Syndra here in second rotation?
No. Oh god, no. Oh no. They have already banned the Fizz, which doesn't make me think they want to play the Syndra themselves. But you really want to leave your mid lane to that very last red side pick. If they pick the Syndra now, then it just means the Gambit is going to pick Vladimir or Echo. Maybe the reason they picked the Syndra here is because they're confident that the only one of the Syndra counters that Gambit can play would be the Fizz, which they have already banned. Which means they really want to hide this top lane pick for Manta Raya. Could well be a Jarvan, actually. Look, once I see it there. Echo, hovered, almost definitely going to be locked in. There it is for Gambit.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary here. It's going to be interesting to see what LaFonte ends up picking up for costs up in that top lane. There really isn't any big tank picks left. Pretty much everything meta-wise is going to be a bruiser up in that top lane. Unless he goes with Kennen.
Kennen's available, but I don't know if I'd want to pick it into the Jarvan. Oh, we actually see Renekton locked in there for Manta Raya. Definitely one of his more, I wouldn't say it's one of his signature champions, but he does like himself a bit of Renekton there. Does like to play the aggressive lane. This does mean this team is going to be lacking a dedicated tank, but that is A-okay. B2K are lacking one too.
Yeah, both of these teams are very high damage compositions. A little bit more so for the side of B2K, while slow really isn't going to offer too much damage-wise, but the amount of CC you get from having a Braum on your team can't be underestimated. My only concern with B2K is I don't know if they can effectively play out their composition into the 1-3-1.
I think this comp's fine for when they are running the double TP, these careful pick up there for that echo down in the mid lane. I think their split pushing is actually fine. Their top lane, that's the job, and got very good splits. Echo, decent enough split as well. So who's going to match it from KLG? They only have the one teleport available to themselves. You really don't want to be putting that Syndra into a side lane. Kha'Zix, maybe you just put them there for a little bit to soak up some XP, but really they want to be team fighting. So once again, KLG seem to have the superior team fighting composition if they can get a fight started. It's very much going to be on slow to get some sort of Q flash, glacial fissure, or a nice pick from Fago, whereas Gatorcrack and Alphante have much more in the form of sort of hard engage, just those ultimates with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Flash Root Strangleform combo from Alphante as well. It's going to be on B2K to be the aggressors coming into this game.
I do like the fact that B2K does have a lot more reliable wave clear as we are getting into game here. We are going to have of course, B2K Born to Kill on the blue side for this game. We have Gus up in the top lane. We have...
we have an in.
It's 5-man stack, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, that worked. Nice read from Gatorcrack, though. No harm in throwing out a volley just to be safe.
Yeah, it's not like it's a huge investment starting that. You're probably starting that anyway on Ashe. Just good to be on the safe and narrow early on. Don't want to risk getting cheesed early on here. But as I was saying, we have Born to Kill on the blue side. We've Gus up in the top lane. Toady in the jungle. Gambite in the mid lane on Echo. We have Gatorcrack and good old Lafante once again rounding out B2K's lineup in the bottom.
And Gambite maybe missing his flash. Missing his flash there of the slow. The sick level 1 pre-minion roam just runs in, throws out the slow, and Gambite forced to flash away from it, so it's definitely going to be pretty nice for KLG. As we see even more action, I just want to introduce teams, man. Advantage trying to get some damage out.
Actually, dude, he doesn't want us to actually get anything started here. He wants to make sure that this is as uneventful as possible here.
Actually, that's quite big that I didn't know that these Thorn Spitters from Zyra actually die in one hit to the slow Q. That's going to be pretty important. So we do see Tier Wolf also running Thunderbolts to create on the Kha'Zix. Once again, opting for damage. And again, he's against an Ashe. You really kind of need that slow resistance when it comes to dealing with that passive and with the AoE from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Yeah, there is a lot of persistent slows, plus you can't forget the slows that you also have coming in from Xayah, from Echo, even from the Jarvan. So it is a bit odd for him going the more damagey route here rather than going with something like the Storm Leader shirts, as you mentioned previously here.
We see quite a lot of damage
a trade on to Lafante. Is going to get stunned up by the Crystal Arrows. Heal is going to come in. Ignite is dropped on the Fix, so it is going to be 2 summoners for 1 in favor of the side of KLG. So nice aggression coming out of the side of KLG, and I just don't think Lafante is just really showing a ton of respect for Fix and Slow in either of these games.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lack of respect in the last game. We'll have to see how it plays out this time. Maybe now that he's played that very squishy Zyra, they also have a different mindset to it all. Logo takes a little bit, but doesn't get hit by the third hit of that Echo passive there. But yeah, we got to see the strengths of Fix taking a very early point in the W on that side. You know, some people like to go Q start then E, but Fix starting W level 1 really useful when you have, of course, a Braum, so you can get that attack speed steroid to get off those concussive blows faster.
Yeah, that Deadly Plumage is definitely a very troublesome ability with the fact that it gives you both an attack speed steroid and an AD steroid. It's an extremely powerful ability that you can't really ever fight around whenever you're laning against Zaya. Lots of trading going on in the mid lane here. Um, do you think Gambite's going to look for that early back into the TP, or do you think he's going to try to stay a little bit longer and try to pressure Plugo as much as possible here on the Syndra?
I mean, you do want to go for the sort of ATP try and get the advantage in your lane, be it CS or pressure advantage. But really, what you want to do is you want to push in, run, recall, and then teleport back to lane before your opponent can recall. Because if you can cancel their recalls, you can deny so many ways. I would have expected to see it slightly earlier from Gambite. You have to wonder what he's waiting for to see Tearwolf come down bottom.
Yeah, do you...
Nice roots.
We are going to see in good Winter's Bite, but nice grasping moves. Does whack off both Tearwolf and Slow. TP coming in from Gus, but counter TP. Flash Flag and Drag does get the knockup onto Slow. Is going to fall for first blood over to Lafante. However, return to kill onto Tati on the backside, so it ends up being a 1-for-1, but almost all summoners being blown.
What came out of nearly nowhere? B2K were shooting under their own tower. And Tearwolf comes down. Really nice route from Elfante, forcing the flash out and completely negating Tearwolf there. And we see Tepos comes out, so we do get into a nice little replay here. This is nice and zoomed in, so we get their perspective. Don't see Tearwolf coming in. Slow flash forward, Gatecrack flashes out. Nice route, forces Tearwolf to flash out and take a extra tower hit. And then Toti's in the area. Goss has his flash, flag, drag, gets the knockup onto Slow. Maybe he could have tried to hit Tearwolf with that if he did a EQ flash combo. I don't know if he would have been ranged, but Mantarai just getting out alive after blowing both his flash and teleport as well. Slight advantage going over to B2K because they got the first blood, but that kill went onto the support, whereas KOD got it onto Tearwolf. It is a damage support, that is true. It is an item.
It's not like it's going on to like a Lulu or Janna.
I wouldn't mind it on the Lulu, to be fair.
Tearwolf is hovering around the top side. There is a massive wave up in this top side, so they could look to try to maybe set up a dive here, but it is very risky play because Toddy is on the back side of the area. Slow is rotating into the mid lane here, as it's not a ton going on here in the early game outside of that play here. When it comes to this top lane matchup, I know almost everyone would say that Renekton's kind of like the poor knockoff. Oh, Toddy could be looking for a blast plant over the wall here. Oh, geez. He has to know something up. Oh, he's going to get stunned over the wall from the slice and dice. Tearwolf does not have flash. Don't think he has jump, so he isn't able to secure the kill. Toddy getting out by the skin of his teeth there.
Yeah, the blasting cone just going to save Toddy. Tearwolf's okay with it. He's going to get the blue buff. Looks like Gambite and Toddy want to contest this though, but Gambite not in a position. Toddy definitely not with that kind of health pool. So I'm just going to hand over the blue to Plugo.
Always nice to get a blue buff as Syndra. Always.
Yeah, nice to go ahead and pick that one up. Quite literally when it comes to Syndra, actually.
One of the few champions who can actually do that. If not the only one. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, as I was saying here is this top lane matchup with the Renekton into the Jarvan. I know we talked about in the last game how Jarvan tends to fall off. Is that still true in this matchup into a Renekton who's so notorious for falling off? Or is it a much more even matchup as the game goes on?
Yeah, it's kind of better for the Renekton because Renekton definitely spikes a lot earlier, but Jarvan can do a better job of being.
We are seeing a potential dive coming in here. Dominus is available for Monteraya. Is going to go in, but a nice Cataclysm to kind of swap positions with Tearwolf. Is able to negate that dive just using the ultimate.
Yeah, nice little play from Ghost. They're dodging out the slice and dice as well, so Mantarai doesn't get the extra cast. To see Totti preparing to set something up down here in the bottom lane, but just some smooth moves, plays it calm, plays it collected. Just has the mana for
onto the Ashe though.
We do. Elfante hasn't got flash though. Roots not gonna lead to anything. Elfante flash ignite up so soon. The second Elfante hits 6, it's actually quite bad. They do not want this lane to be pushed to power. They need the extra space. See, now Totti just playing up with Elfante bot lane is the place to be. And Tearwolf is nowhere near a hand over this blue buff to Gambite.
So it ends up being just a blue buff trade in the end, despite that aggression on the top side, which is good job from B2K, able to still secure that blue buff for their mid lane here. Something we haven't talked about is how Fix is going to use this Featherstorm ultimate, which I kind of feel...
I was just waiting to get onto that one, my dude. So because Alfante, we're on the same page. Because Alfante walked up to secure that blue buff, had a slight XP deficit, meaning that Fix is now on level 6, and so it's going to be a lot harder for B2K to be getting these engages off. So Tearwolf is there, but he's on the ward. Totti not spotted, however. A lot of action. Oh, there's the root.
Oh, a lot of trade damage onto LaFonte. Strangled Lords is going to knock up Slow, who is also going to get hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. The Fissure does buy him a lot of time, but Gattlecrack able to close the distance and secure the kill. But a lot of ultimates and summoners won once again. But only the Ignite being burned on the side. However, Gambite is getting forced really low, is going to go back with the Chrono Break, trying to get the trade damage onto Plugo. Plugo does have a little bit left in the tank in terms of mana, but not enough to try to trade kills.
Heal going to save Plugo out there, and this is really good for Gambite because he's winning these trades. He's actually ahead in CS. He's winning the trades we just saw, and he hasn't even died in the lane, and he's in the. This is the part of the lane where Plugo should be winning it on the Syndra. It's really once you get the Merc trades and your Kindle Gem, maybe
we are seeing Gus going aggressive on to Monteraya. Is going to come in with the Cataclysm. However, Dominus is immediately traded back, pretty much forcing the disengage.
Yeah, but not too much actually going to be able to happen up there in that top lane in terms of the 1v1, because every time one goes in, the other can just slide on out. And Mantarai can use Dominus to completely negate Cataclysm. In fact, it makes Cataclysm a bad thing, because of course it traps Goss inside with that sort of that sand damage there. So it's not looking too good for Goss right now. This is really the part of the lane where Mantaraya starts to get the advantage. It's sort of like the kind of like 1.5 item point. When it comes to being just full tank 6 items, it's going to go back into Goss's favor as Gambite forced to flash. A nice little move up there from Plugo.
But it is an Echo. He has a lot of mobility within his kit here. So we are seeing Gambite going for that early Proto Belt. Is going to eat a lot of damage from Plugo. Is going to go back, trade back that damage, and pretty much equalize that trade as Gambite does get his ultimate back available here. What do you think about the early Merc trades and then going into the Proto Belt? Is the Merc trades just to buy time? As Saudi is going in for play. Crystal Arrow and Strangle Forms both miss. However, we do see the counter engage with the Glacial Fissure, but does not land anyone. Teleport is burned from Monteraya up in that top lane.
So we blew both of the ultimates for bot lane, every ult being used actually except for the Featherstorm, but Goss is going to have the TP advantage now. So if Toddy just wants to run down to the bottom lane and try and force something now, they can get a 4v2, 4v3 if Tearwolf is there to counter gank it, because Mantaraya have to cancel that TP. It's going to be pretty big for B2K.
If they can get a play set up here. If you're the side of B2K, you do have this TP onto the Echo, as Tearwolf is on the backside. Gattlecrack kiting very well. Featherstorm does come in, kick onto Tearwolf, is going to fall in the end to the Zyra. Oh, I think this kill securing support this game is both of those kills go onto Elfante.
Yeah, both kills coming over now. 3-0-1. 75% of his team's kills. Not really the person you want to be funneling them into, but like I said earlier, it's a Zyra, so it's okay. So it looks like B2K going to pick up the first blood tower as well, even going to share the local gold onto Elfante as well, which will be funneling into him now. A lot of CS being denied to that bot lane tower as we get a nice little replay here. So let's see how it goes down. Elfante gets the root onto Slow. Tozzy is of course here. He can just come in and gets a nice QRQ. But Snipe as well takes down Slow, and Alphante maybe stealing the kill there, but he can frame it under the guise of saving Toten's life.
Yes, dude, I was totally saving you. I wasn't stealing the kill or anything.
Yeah, dude. It was close. It was close enough that he can claim he was saving him. Whether or not it's true, we will never know.
We are actually seeing the lucidity boots picked up here for Alphante. I don't think that's very typical of a Zyra. I do see it on things like brand support, which having the low cooldowns is just so important. But I don't think that's very typical on Zyra, as we generally see Moby boots or Sork boots coming in for her.
Yeah, it is quite traditional to see the Sork shoes coming out. Of course, this does mean that the Flash Engage that is going to be available more often for Alphante. So that's something to take into account because utilities do, of course, lower the cooldown of summoner spells as well as your standard spells. So I think Alphante is looking to go for a bit of more aggressive, more damage-oriented build.
Three-man play up onto the lonely Fix and Slow once again. It is a three-man top lane. String of Thorns is going to come out, is just barely going to clip Slow, but it's still very separated. Crystal Arrow does miss. Nice route coming in from Fix, is forcing Toddy to flash in order to get out of range of that Glacial Fissure.
And whilst this is going on, Gatorcrack has free reign of that mid lane. Just going to push up, get some pressure onto Powers. It looks like he wants to run up
it does
as
look
well.
like KLG wants to continue the fight. Flash into the ultimate is going to take Toddy off the map here. If you're KLG, do you look to try to pressure Rift Herald here, or do you look to try to pressure the tower?
It's really toss. I was actually
that damage onto Lafante. Unfortunately, you do not have a lot of HP at this point as Zyra. That Kha'Zix is just like, I may be a carnivore, but I like a little plants from time to time.
An omnivore now, consume and adapt. Picks up the kill there. And it looks like the answer to your question is going to be pressuring neither. Yeah, we're too low. We can't really risk forcing anything. We'll just take our kills and leave. Thank you very much. 2 kills onto Tier Wolf. I think that Kha'Zix getting himself onto the board, but the overall advantage is still to B2K because they have that tower lead.
So if you're B2K, do you look to rotate your bot lane mid, or do you keep your bot lane tied as we see right now, and then have your 2 TPs in the mid lane and bot lane now? As we are seeing a heavy trade going in the favor of Monteraya. Does have that full black cleaver to just pieces of items for Gus. Stun does land onto Gambite. Unleash Power comes in, but just not enough damage with that very early Merc Treads pickup, negating a lot of the damage that Plugo's trying to put out at this stage of the game.
Yeah, those Merc Treads really putting in work, especially with the extra help from the Proto Belt. So this is really going to be the point of where the Echo starts to come online in this matchup. He just becomes too tanky for the Syndra to kill, especially of course when he uses his ultimate correctly to dodge out the Unleashed Power. That's really looking to become a Gambite's game. 0-0 and 0-4 CS lead. They're surely going to see that one changing in the near future as the arrow does not connect onto Tier Wolf.
I don't know if he needed to jump there. I think it would have been close whether or not the arrow hit, though I wouldn't trust Rito's hitboxes right now.
Yeah, that arrow was going to hit if he didn't jump. With the, because there's a bit of it's spaghetti hitboxes, but I think that 90% certain that would have hit had he not jumped. And at the end of the day, what was this? 50 mana and a 20-second cooldown. But he's got 10% CDR, so it's 18.
So something that we've been seeing a lot of the Kha'Zix doing is going for that early Void Spike upgrade, for that additional wave clear, as well as the slow against isolated targets. Do you think that's especially beneficial considering that B2K is looking for very much of a 1-3-1 setup here? With the additional slow and gap close, as we are seeing Gambite is going to blow the Chronobake TP coming in from the backside by Gus. The stun does land from the parallel convergence. Flag and Drag is going to knock up Monteraya, buying more time for his mid laner to rotate out of position.
And now TP advantage 100% going over to KLG. Monteraya was already there, so he did not have to teleport there. So it means if the top laners collide in the bottom lane, definitely going to have the advantage for KLG, especially as Mantaraya seems to be pushing the waves faster, as he's not going to run down to Goss and try and chunk him out, try and create some pressure, get that lane pushing so that he can TP away and get to a fight that Goss can't.
So to go back to the Zyra point and the Feather Storm that I was talking about, if you're fixed on this Zyra, what are your priority spells to try to dodge with that Feather Storm? Is it always going to be that arrow priority, or are you going to look to dodge something like the Stranglethorns or the Lee Sin engage from the Resonating Strike? Because there's a lot of single target stuff that she needs to dodge. TP is coming in on the backside from Monteraya. Sand does land onto him with the parallel convergence. Stranglethorns and Glacial Fish are being traded in the same path. Reset from Gambite with the Chrono Break. I do think they are going to be able to secure this Rift Herald despite the TP coming in from Monteraya.
Yeah, just good chunks coming out from B2K, just forcing him from KLG away, and there's no mana for Plugo to try and defend that. No health on Mantaraya or Tearwolf. So, you know, KLG put in the work, and then BTK come along and managed to pick up that Herald. And the very important part is that happened at 1950, 5 seconds before it despawns, give or take. And so this means they now have that for another 2.5 minutes. So it's one of the rare situations where you can use the Rift Herald to draw pressure away from Baron. If they drop it in the bot lane, Toddy wants to just, as he spawns in base, he can just drop it bot and then run up to the Baron. Now, knowing that Manta Raya has no teleport, it's definitely going to be a very good time for him to try and use it. Maybe he waits for 2 minutes so that Goss can get his teleport available as well, or close enough to available, and then Goss can move with the Herald, try and protect it. They can get a tower together whilst the rest of the team groups at Baron.
Well, they do still have TP onto Gambite, excuse me. So they can theoretically put him in the bot lane with Rift Herald and have Gus up over in the top side of the map, providing pressure with his team.
They can, but then the issue comes that you put Gambite in the lane with Mantalaya. And Gambite definitely lacking in the sort of armor section. Not going to be able to do too much to Mantaraya either, can't really poke him out too well. So you really do want to keep Goss and Mantaraya together, it's just beneficial if you're BTK. It looks like they're actually just going to try and force down this tower top lane because they know 2 people mid. And 2 people
I
who
think
aren't
that
there.
will be enough damage, yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, Rift Herald's a fair and balanced thing, so...
Oh, yeah, that's me.
1,500 damage or whatever it was to that tower.
Yeah, it's a percentage of its current health. Yeah, maybe it's actually just its current health.
Yeah, it's a percent of its current health is what it deals in damage on its charge.
Oh wait, they didn't actually kill it. Yeah. KLG didn't kill it, so it's going to hit the next tower.
Maybe.
Oh, no, it didn't. No, it just got picked up there by Fakes. Whilst it was caught dealing with a few minions. You see there are multi-man invade here from KLG going into top.
Oh, Tati, you are out of position, but you are a Lee Sin, so you have like 11 dashes, so you're all good.
Yep, just gonna. May have 11, only needs the 1. It's not out with the Ward Hop. And we see now here we're hitting level 11, picking up those Void Spikes. Like you said, Void Spikes are definitely a superior upgrade in competitive, especially seeing as this is 7 kills in 22 minutes, so not very much of an opportunity for resets here. It's nice to have the utility that the slows, even when the target isn't isolated, you still get a 20% slow with the Kha'Zix Evolved W, and also get that vision as well. It's very, very nice. You just throw it into a choke and you find out how many people, or a rough estimate of how many people there are in that area. Here, we're looking to make something happen on Goss. We got 2v2 potentially. Manta Ray gonna dash on out.
Yeah, one of the nice things about both of these top laners is they do have a lot of ability.
Oh,
dear God. Massive damage coming on to Fix. Is going to take trade ultimates here. Gambite's still trying to play aggressive here.
So no, very smart from Gambite to use his Chrono Break like that. A lot of people would wait till they taken damage or damage was imminent. Gambite knows if that Feather Storm Blade Cooler had connected, if it had rooted him, he was 100% dead, wouldn't have been able to jump out, would have died to that burst and the Syndra burst as well. So he just uses it preemptively to get as far away as he can. But now he doesn't have it from Mantaraya.
Mantaraya trying to go aggressive. Nice stun from the parallel convergence from Gambite, making sure he's able to get out.
Going to slide on after that one. Like I said, got the up stun, got the speed boost, got out, didn't actually need the ultimate in the end. As Party trying to guard for his team here because KLG kind of slow on the draw here. You know, we've got the Central just chilling in the mid lane, not doing all too much, but doesn't matter. Fix has the wave because they do manage to save his tower.
So looking at these two team compositions as we are getting into this mid to late game point here, in terms of the two compositions, which side do you give the edge to? Do you give it to B2K or do you give it to KLG?
I think once again we're just going to have to give it to E2K. Again, they've got a sort of more traditional composition here, but the important part is that they have this sort of Ash, Syra, heavy CC, hefty engage on their side, and they're running the double TP so they can go for that 1-3-1 that you've spoken so much about. It's not to say the composition of KLG is particularly bad, but once again, it just seems well, it seems sort of like what B2K had last time, which is a bit less cohesive, a bit more sort of like, okay, these picks are all sort of individually good. At the same time, they still have very good pick potential, and they are so good at fighting if they get it in a trope. Then you combine that Feather Storm, the Glacial Fissure.
Ooh, Slow's trying to get
Scatter.
onto Gambite, is going to use that Chrono Break to get the reset, as Zoss is going to come out. Shield from Parallel Convergence is going to buy him some more time. Jewolf trying to chase him down is eventually going to be able to secure that kill. So they do burn a fair bit as we do see Arrow going somewhere. Oh, it was going towards Plugo because Plugo blew Flash. Oh, TP coming in here. They're trying to make a play for this Baron. Garrus is TPing as well. Flash into the Strangle Thorns, but he is going to give up his life for it. Montreal trying to output a nice Flag and Drag Cataclysm combo from Gus on the backside. A lot of damage coming out from the Ashe and from Gus, but just not quite enough to finalize any kills outside of getting one onto Slow.
That's such a sloppy fight from B2K, and they play ultimate cost. 4 of them now going down. And KLG can just move straight onto this Baron. It's all going to be onto Gatorcrack, but they are so low. KLG is taking a lot of damage. Gatorcrack picks up the one, but can't get any more. It's Firmino going over to Polugo there. They just force them off of the Baron.
So they do give up essentially an ace to stall that Baron. So I think that was a fine decision. But a lot of what we saw last game from B2K, as we are going to see a replay real quick, Doctor.
Alright, so step 1, Elfante, very eager to get the flash route. Nice block from Slow, meaning that it only hits him. The knockup only hitting Slow once again because no one was locked on top of it. And you see the issue of flashing into our next, and this do tend to die quite quickly. This whole time, Plugos is just allowed to run onto the side, so he gets a really nice ult down onto Toddy as well. And let's just take a look at what Gatorcrack trying to make the hero play happen. They're all so sort of low. He stacks up his ranges focus onto the Scuttlecrab, but he gets hit by the stun. He couldn't afford to do that. Tilf jumps in, and they're a little bit too low, so he does go down. May not have been necessary, but at least by him jumping and getting off the extra damage, it guarantees it's going to be a 1-for-1, as opposed to something else. As Cambite, in a very grim spot, going to be spotted out by actually his own team.
He does have the ultimate available, only landing the slow on to stun, but the amount of damage from the deadly plumage.
But look at his team, dude.
The team is trying to do better. Stun does land onto Tyrolf, immediately taking him off the map. Monorai is trying to go in and try to fight. Ignite is on him. No CC coming in as Flag and Drag does come in. Gambite gets this kill onto Fix on the backside. This is going to be Baron for B2K.
Wait, hang about Gambite. You weren't supposed to get a kill out of that, dude. You were supposed to just chill on, go, okay, die, be a hero. Die for the team, that's fine. But he walks out with the kills. Now
Plugo's trying to rotate in and stop this Baron, and I do believe they are going to be able to stop the Baron coming in from B2K, as neither of these teams are able to secure this Baron, and they're just trading little pot shots across the table. But to go back to that fight before that one, is we're still seeing a lot of B2K going in one by one, as we're going to see a replay of this bot lane skirmish, I believe.
Okay, so Gambite's sort of doing a similar thing as the last time. He's caught out 1v3, but this time his team's in position to get the objective. They've learned from their mistakes. See, he gets the move speed proc using the ult and the Q, get his passive onto Fix, and by this point, Slow goes, okay, we've got to just stop this Baron. Now Fix running up with 2 stacks, so a nice little cancel there from Gambite, masks the Proto Belt and Time Winder inside his phase dive there. Really nice animation. Cancel managed to get all 3 bases off at the same time. Some of them were dodged by the Feather Storm, but he does just pick up the kill and just get out alive. It looks like he'll get out alive here as well, courtesy of Chrono Break.
It's such a useful spell, isn't it?
Pretty good, pretty good.
So as I was trying to say earlier, is B2K still doesn't really seem to be fully on the same page in terms of these engages here. So a lot of 1v1 at a time here coming in on the side of B2K. However, you have a 3-item echo, you have essentially a 2.5 item coming in from Ash, as well as your double item on Jarvan and almost 3 items onto your Lee Sin. That is a lot of damage you have onto the table, and Xayah still does not have that Infinity Edge, and that's when she really, really spikes hard.
Yeah, that's when a huge amount of damage will be coming out for Fix on that side once he gets that boost to his crit strike damage. Get a crack going for a bit of a more sustained, more steady, less crit reliant build here. Very good versus the tanks as well, having that Blade of the Ruin King. We are getting to a very key point of the game. We're now 30 minutes in. The last game was just over by this point, and we've seen 2 or 3 Baron attempts, but none of these times have actually been picked up. As once again, Gambite down in the bot lane with his teleport available.
So, as we're seeing, Gambite ends up being the one who deals with Monterey here in the bot side of the map. Now, the real question is how aggressive do you play around Gus on the top side of the map with Baron on the table? Do you play super aggressive and try to multi-man siege that and keep your ADC in the mid lane and then rely upon the Ashe arrow to rotate over because you have plenty of damage on the Zyra at this stage of the game? Because there's not a ton of MR really been built up on either of the squishies, but Infinity Edge just completed for Fix here.
Yeah, now we're going to get a lot of damage coming in now that he has that Infinity Edge. But like you were saying earlier, to answer your question, you just keep this at the 1-3-1. Gambite is a bit better off holding his own than
Gus
Goss.
is out of position by himself. Does have the flag and drag to get out. Flash Q from Tierwolf, not able to get that concussive blows procced. Gambite trying to trade with the Renekton. Isn't even going to be able to chrono break. Nice play from Monteraya with the Ruthless Predator, getting that secure kill.
Now he's going to pick up the kill on the Gambite, dying with the chrono shift available. Pretty painful to see that one happen. We now see KLG moving up towards this Baron, trying to get some vision down, trying to pick up that Scuttle Crab. Gambite, 35 seconds, will have his teleport available. Not going to be able to go for it this time, as we now see things coming up. Somebody has to go bot and defend that tower, or it will go down to Mansadaya. So we do see Goss recall and put those home guards and dual Cloud Drakes to good use.
Yeah, very, very useful things to have when you're trying to rotate around the map here. We do have Elder Drake spawning here in a few minutes. But if I was B2K, would you really try to defend this tier 1 tower? Because I feel like it's low-hanging gold and you end up going to be losing one top lane as well. I feel like the more important play is making sure you have Baron control and you're keeping up your inner towers rather than defending these outer ones.
I mean, it's such a close game, but that little bit of extra gold could mean the difference. You don't want to lose 2 towers at the same time, because there's not much that Goss could actually do to help his team. It's much better just to have him in the bot lane and make sure that he can use his teleport to the sort of the most value extent that he can. I don't think they could have maybe held that top lane tower, but they could have potentially given up mid for it. It would have been nice to have it, because they could keep just a bit more control around that Baron area. It does mean that they now get a little bit more space to work with to build up a bigger wave. One small upsides of actually losing your tower, if you can build up a slightly bigger wave now that you have the extra space. So we'll have to see if Gambite has used that effect. So you now see a huge wave coming in top and Gambite going in.
Gambite going in on the flank is going to have to build a Chrono Break early. Monteraya coming in with a massive engage on the backside. Huge Feather Storm and Stranglethorns on the backside. Cataclysm coming in from Gus is trying to survive as long as possible. But a lot of damage coming out from the Xayah on the backside is still alive. However, a lot of damage coming out of both these ADCs is...
Oh, Gator was so close to getting like a pentakill there, man. He just flashed in. The man's weak. It was a pretty perfect
he didn't want to. He didn't want to pull a wild turtle. Okay.
Okay, come on, dude. Yeah, everyone needs a brother. but it was close. But in any case, he will manage to pick up a tower for his team. Not quite a pentakill, but it's close enough. Maybe he won't pick up a tower, but that's definitely going to go down at some point during this game.
You
He's
can
now
just breathe on that tower, and I'm pretty sure it
6-1
dies. We are going to see a replay of that engage.
Alright, this is what I really like here from Goss. It's something that we haven't seen from him this series. Look at this. He finally drags in, sees he gets exhaust, and just instantly starts playing it safe. Then walks in, waits for Plugo's Zonyas to run out so he can get the full value, because he knows he can live through this. He gets a nice 4-man cast plays into the 4-man knockup, just buying time for his team who's currently being zoned. And then you know, we see Toddy maybe a little bit too squishy right now, so he goes and kind of gets melted. But again, buys time for Gatorcrack to get out the damage he needs to do. Picks himself up a double kill, and Gambite picking up a tower there, 300 gold.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Lich Bane, it makes you do a little bit of damage to towers, just a little bit.
Yeah, if he didn't have the Lich Bane there, man, no way he got that tower.
Yeah, I know, man.
Trying to maybe
T-Wolf trying to make a play here, as you do have a back coming in from Gatocrack. He is not going to be there for this fight, as you do a Monteraya on the flank, trying to get on top of LaFonte. Nice arrow onto T-Wolf, but unfortunately LaFonte is still going to fall to the, I believe that was the clean cuts from the side of Fix, but I still don't think they can get anything off the back of this, as bot lane tower does eventually fall on the backside. Unleash Power not able to quite secure the kill on the LaFonte. Excuse me, not onto LaFonte, onto Gambite, but they are trying to burn down this Baron. It's getting rather low. However, you do have Toddy on the backside, can look to try to get a steal here. Does land the Sonic Wave, resonating strike.
Oh, he stole it!
But it ends up being sold by Gambite, is the one who ends up killing the Baron. Kills going all over for the side of B2K. Massive amount of damage coming back. However, the blade color's massive, but not quite enough, as the Baron does go over. And Gatocrack's just like, no, dude, you got to take the long way. You can't come and chase us for kills. This is our territory.
Oh,
Gus is going to fall, but can Gatocrack secure the kill? One more auto.
Picks up the kill there, and now the ace going over for B2K. More kills into Gatocrack. He's A-okay with this. Gambite stealing the Baron there. Once again, Goss getting a really nice clustered Cataclysm and knock-up combo as well as we get into the replay here. So it's pretty much just Goss and Toddy here, as you see in the frame down there in the bot lane. Elder Dragon is being done. Everyone's sort of allowing Toddy to get behind him. Maybe Mantarai should have jumped out to try and stall it, but everyone's looking at Toddy and no one is looking at Gambite. Just E, Protobelt, Q, steal, ult. Very, very clean. Now because everyone's caught in the pit, it's very easy for Goss just to get this, get such a good knock-up, such a good Cataclysm down. See, he does go down. He does get. Actually, didn't get crit. Just like to the standard auto from Fix, but the kill is picked up for Gatocrack. Now sitting on 4.5 items, but pretty good for him.
Yeah, this Ashe is kind of terrifying, sitting at 8, 1, and 7 here. But is that the thing that breaks the camel's back for KLG here, losing that Baron plus Elder Dragon here, or can they still try to scrape together some nice team fights with the amount of damage they have on to Fix, who's now at 4 items as well?
I mean, it's going to be very hard to come back from a Elder and Baron buff empowered team. Both of those buffs are still on Gatocrack and Goss, I believe. No, Goss doesn't. So it will just all be on Gatocrack to keep the Baron off. Oh no, Toddy has no. It's a split. Gatocrack's the impersonal with both at least. But it's good to see that B2K have sort of picked up their niche here. They realize, okay, Goss can go in a 1v9 now, but he's got his Gargoyle Stoneplate. He can sort of 1v5 the fight. We just need Toddy to peel. Gambite just try and assassinate someone if he can. And then Elfante and Toddy just have to keep Gatocrack alive. Because Gatocrack is so fed, he just needs to peel as he is playing quite the immobile carry on that Ashe.
Yeah, but he does have the Quicksilver.
Oh, Gambite, hang about. Gambite using the Chrono Break to come back to lane. So recalling, buying, and Chrono Breaking back to lane, I believe. In any case, not going to be available.
On 30% CDR, so it's not like it's a terribly long.
It's a very short cooldown, but this isn't a tank Echo. That's quite an important ability for him. He does have the Zonyas now to make up for it.
Yeah, but it does look like they are going to be able to shove down this tier 2 here in the top lane. They do have a fair wave stacked up here for them in the top lane. They have Gus shoving in the bot lane. Very nice macro play, but unfortunately Gus does not have the Baron buff because, he died. So not quite as effective as it would normally be. They're trying to get all of these Baron waves in the tower, constantly trying to get a lot of pressure down here. If you're KLG, do you just try to bum rush and engage here as Elder Dragon has fallen off, or do you just focus on stalling out the rest of this Baron?
Oh, it looks like the Baron is just about to end. In fact, it may well have already ended. So could well answer your question. Yeah, it's only left on Tozy because he has the mastery that makes your monster buffs last longer. So there it goes. Gone forever, or at least for about 3 more minutes. It's going to be significantly easier for KLG to defend here, but it is still the 1-3-1 they have to deal with. And there's hefty wave clear for the side of B2K.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about Xayah is she has an immense amount of wave clear available to her. Gus slowly autoing this tower down with his Cleaver and Titanic Hydra. Now, something I want to ask you here is, as Gus on this Jarvan, what do you look for in terms of your last item here? Do you go for something like a Guardian Angel for that additional damage and tank stats? Or do you go with something like, say, an Adaptive Helm to try to deal with Syndra?
I don't know. I mean, the adaptive helm's not really too great in this situation. Of course, anything that gives health is going to be pretty nice. Of course, because you do have the Gargoyle Stone Plate. So we could see potentially a Maw or a Starax. Something that just really helps him go for that sort of 1v9 play. That's all he wants to do is just jump in, get tanky, and hopefully get 3 EQs off. That's the dream. He should be able to get 2 off in most fights. If he can get 3, he's golden. And actually, that's the item I told you about. Lockets. This is 7.11, so it's not completely OP, this combo yet. Let's pick up a Locket just to get himself an extra shield, help out his team as well. Where it's patched 7.12, it would also, the Locket shield would scale with his bonus health, and he'd have a very, very tasty Gargoyle Stone Plate Locket combo there.
Yeah, that
Gonna
sounds
go for the
utterly
utility.
disgusting. Especially on some. Just
is.
imagine on that on like an Olaf.
Oh yeah, dude. No, it's a waste to get it on your Olaf. You put it on your Leona, on your Time Count. If you have a Psy on top, it's even better because it scales with bonus health. But in any case, wrong patch. So you see the Baron will be spawning in 1 minute and 5 seconds. So teams looking to set up what vision control they can.
Or Cho'Gath. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, so if you get on Cho'Gath, then you get the spicy because his ult scales with its true damage that scales with bonus health as well. So you stack the ult, get a Warmogs, get a Gargoyles, get a Locket. So you flash Gargoyle, ult, Locket, and suddenly you literally one hit that, like legitimately hit their ADC for 2,500 true damage.
That
shielded your entire team for 2k. So it's okay.
So at this stage of the game, we have Baroner spawning here in approximately 40 to 45 seconds. What does KLG need to do, and what do B2K need to do? Because neither team's really been able to get an effective lead here, even with the Baron going over to B2K.
Yeah, the slight lead has come out for B2K. I say slight, it's 10,000 gold, but we're at the point of the game that really does start to not matter so much. You see Gambit trying to get this turret huge shields from that parallel convergence. KLG just really have to hope they can get a right fight. They can take out Gatocrack. If they take down Gatocrack, that is pretty much all of B2K's damage gone. I mean, Gambit has some as well, but it's not as consistent.
I mean, it's a death cap
orientated. He's got his death cap, so it's very much Gambit building to just slap like 2 people at once, whereas Gatocrack has that.
Ooh, Gambit is going in onto Monteraya, is eating a lot of damage. Proto-belting out, does come in with the Zanyas, getting the stun and a massive shield on the backside, but Monteraya does burn the flash as they are trying to burn down the Baron on the other side. Lafante is doing that arrow was fantastic! Catching Tierwolf mid-leap as Toddy goes back in to secure the Baron here. On the backside, Tierwolf does fall to Lafante. That arrow was amazing, even if it wasn't vision.
Insane arrow, and Alfante managed to pick up the kill. I was pretty scared that Alfante actually left the blast cone alive, so I was quite worried that Skill would take the cone in managed to pick it up in a nice arrow. And a nice little engage once again from Goss. Just jumps in onto 4 people, forces T-Wolf out, and then drops the Cataclysm so that there's no chance of him coming back. And a second Baron goes over to B2K.
And he actually swaps out his Randuin's Omen for a GA for Gus.
Okay, so he is 100% committing to going for these sort of 1v9 plays now. As we see, I said 1v9 plays a lot of time, but it's true. It loses a lot of his tank stats though, and it's also sort of doubly effective because he loses the health that the Randuins give, which means he loses that a second time over because he's not going to be getting that when he uses the Gargoyle Stone Blade. It does get a little bit of extra damage, and it does mean he can now stay in the fight for longer because he doesn't have to worry about getting out of the fight. He can just die, I guess. Okay, he will just come straight back.
However, my concern is with the amount of damage coming in from Fix on the Xayah could just immediately shred through Gus if he's not able to pressure him out immediately with that Cataclysm. T-Wolf trying to get aggressive onto Gatocrack, but minions are a thing and stop that slow from landing.
Yeah, and Gatocrack has the arrow as well, just in case. Had a few friends around as well. But if that is the case, if Goss does get completely one hit by Fix because he doesn't have that crit strike damage reduction anymore, at least he's going to have 3.5 seconds to sort of reconsider his life as he reses in that GA. It does mean he does pretty much gives him an extra EQ because he doesn't have to use one to get out. He can just stay in the fight and use it.
So you're saying we go from 2 to 3 EQs to 3 to 4 EQs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. 4 EQs is the dream. Could potentially even get 5 using the Locket Shield correctly. And
oh dear God, LaFontaine! I don't think LaFontaine was there. I think he just disappeared there. Gambit is getting engaged on it. Is going to use the Chrono Break to back out and reset, but he is all alone. And not wrong for this world is going to pop the Zanyas. But Gus is in the top side trying to pressure down this inhibitor tower. Not able to secure it as they do collapse over. So a great play coming in from KLG to stall out what will be the rest of this Baron buff with those 2 picks.
He's trying to stall out this game as much as possible as we get so close to 6 items for both teams. They're 20,000 gold in the pockets of Gatocrack, but there's only so much money you can spend. Really nice.
Do you think we're getting to the stage of the game where Gatocrack looks to try to swap to double Zeal items, or do you think he sticks with his current build?
We could well see him like selling his boots for potentially a Phantom Dancer, or maybe even a Shiv. As we do see
Stun does land on to Toddy, followed up by the Unleashed Power, but it does virtually no damage to Toddy. He is still in a position to try to get a steal as Elder Dragon minorly resets. We are getting some skirmishing on the backside. Gus, arrow lands onto Fix, followed up by a massive knockup. Dust goes in with the Cataclysm Tower. Elder Dragon goes over to the side of KLG, but a massive team fight coming in off on the backside. KLG getting destroyed by Monterey on the backside, who solos out the bot lane. Gambit trying to do what he can, trying to get out the carries, but unfortunately point-and-click CC exists, so that ends up being an Elder for KLG, plus a even kill spread for both sides.
Actually a 3 for 2 for KLG. They get the advantage. They will now move into the mid lane using that Elder Dragon. And if B2K had got the Dragon, they very well could have won the fight if Gambit just had a little bit more damage coming onto that flank there. And he just didn't manage to hit Vix with his Chrono Break. Maybe if he did, he would have been able to burst him. I don't know, but that's 2 towers going down. Could well be the 3rd. Very much
you have a ton of damage on to Fix if he's able to freely auto this tower. With the amount of damage from Deadly Plumage here, Gus trying to do what he can. He did end up losing his Guardian Angel in that last team fight. He is going to go in once again with the EQ, trying to stall, but this inhibitor is going to fall, and that is actually the first inhibitor of the game for KLG. However, re-engage coming in, Cataclysm onto Monterey. We see a nice EQ, does all the way through, knocking up Tearwolf and securing the kill onto him. Fix trying to survive, ends up falling to Toddy. This could be a massive throw for KLG because those 2 guys aren't coming up for over 60 seconds.
Gus has the Cloud Drakes. He might be able to pick up Mantaraya. EQ not gonna connect. Oh, EQ doesn't connect, saves himself with the stone, gargoyle stone plate. Does manage to get out, but like you said, there's pretty huge death timers for KLG, but there's not too much that V2K can do. They were in their base.
Oh dear God, Tony.
Ooh. Hang about those people. They were there, and then they just weren't.
Kind of like
Jumps
Lafante,
in.
we do see Glacial Pigeon coming out, not managing to land on a TP coming in from from Gus, excuse me, is gonna go in with the EQ combo, is gonna help secure the kill onto slow. Inhibitor is going to fall, so it does equalize the inhibitors, but it's mid lane for bot lane, and with Baron coming up here in the next few minutes, I would shortly. I think that's a favorable trade for B2K. Montserrat is going in, is going to be able to blow up Lafante on the backside, but Gato Crack outputting so much damage. Tearwolf going in, trying to secure the kill. Montserrat is going to get the kill on the backside. Fix trying to help secure kills. 10 minions are in the base. Gus trying to do what he can to get out. If Gus dies here, I think this ends up being the game for KLG.
Toti is gonna be alive, but so is Plugo, so is Tearwolf, and so is Fix as they make a beeline for that mid lane. One tower already going down to the double super minions. As Toti gonna try and clear them out, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold this in a 1v2, which will soon be a 1v3. Elfante is gonna spawn.
Well, it's like a 1v4
enough.
if you count minions.
Those super creeps really helping out. Tearwolf just going in for the speed with his ultimate. Fix going onto the tower.
Fakes does have so much damage. Deadly Plumage is going off. He has too much damage. I think KLG is going to secure the 2-0 here with one more auto. That was an interesting game to say the least from KLG and B2K.
I was so close, dude. But just they overstay in the base just a little bit too long. And when Gato Crack goes down, the Nexus goes down. They had to keep him alive. Had to do what they could to peel for him, to save him. Definitely the strongest member of that team. KLG managed to take down the opposition in their base, and 50 minutes in they take down the Nexus.
Yeah, very, very back and forth game between these two teams. It's so hard for me to really judge how these two teams performed in each individual games, because I felt like B2K had so much going for them, but it was just so few minor overextensions that allowed KLG to end up securing that game. So looking at the series as a whole, who do you feel like really stood out for the side of KLG between both of these games?
Oh god, it's so... I don't know. I mean, Plugo had a pretty solid game both times around. Doing okay on that mid lane, but both times we saw Gambite trying to carry his team there. Did so well on that Echo, even managing to come out slightly ahead of the lane. By slightly, I mean it was about one wave of CS ahead during the part of the lane where he should have been losing in that second game. Again, Gator Crack. Definitely not a non-optimal first game, but really trying as hard in that second one, getting so bad. Again, even Goss coming up in the second game, just looking a lot more comfortable on that job. It's incredible to see V2K in their first game versus their second game. They look like a completely different team. But once again, Mantaraya just holding down the fort, being that split push presence. Just always managing to be slightly better than Goss, which is really all he needs. It's just so many valuable players, even slow on that form.
I would personally feel like for the series as a whole, like Monterrey was so effective between both of those games on both the Shen and the Renekton that he was able to set up so many picks with the taunts, with the Ruthless Predators, that I feel like he would honestly get my pick for MVP of the series. My bigger concern for B2K is after yet another very tightly fought series, where do they look to go in the next few weeks? Because they're showing these improvements, but there's always just one or two missteps that end up costing them the series.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they look so different They look so different. And this week than they did to last week. Last week they played very calm, very controlled, just waiting for a mistake. And they did that a little bit this week as well. They just need to get their aggression slightly more calculated. And it looks like you are right. They give the MVP over to Mantaraya. I was actually considering Slow as well. He had very good games on that Braum. They're going to hand it on over 2-0 and 8 for Mantaraya in that first game on that Shen. Pretty solid. Not sure what he had on the second game. I think it was like 8-3 and something. It was pretty good.
Yeah, he had a very good series overall here. So, with this being said, KLG moves up the standings just a little bit in B2K. Both of these teams are kind of hovering around this 4th and 5th place spot here. So, after this result, do you think KLG just has the distinct advantage over B2K and is going to be able to secure a spot for playoffs in their current form? Or do you think B2K will eventually figure out what are some of these minor issues with their compositions and how they're playing and are able to challenge KLG for that last spot?
I think BCK really do have the potential. They come from this sort of challenger series, they're definitely not a top league team yet, but you can see the difference in how they play between their first game of a series and their second game of the series. They're always, there's always such a big difference, which leads me to believe that part of the issue must be mental for them. Must sort of be in their heads. I think if they can get around that, they could beat KLG next time they face off against them. They could show themselves to be the better team, but KLG putting off a pretty hefty roster swap at the start of this season, looking very good as well. Definitely better than last split.
So they are moving in the right direction here. We're going to take a short break before we set for set number 2, which is a very important set where we see HalfNet versus Easerius Gaming. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. I am Primus. He is Docta. We'll be back in a few.
Channel switched.
Live now.
Hello and welcome everybody to CLS Halfnet Gaming against Easterus. I am Steve Sir Bucket King, is joined by the one and only Primus. Give a shout out to the fans.
All of our legions of screaming fans, Sir Butt King legions.
There are dozens of them. Dozens. We're into pick and ban already, though. Some core picks coming out here. I don't know how much you've talked already this evening about the new patch, but it's not being played here. Am I correct there?
Yes,
In
we
the
are still on
assumption?
7-11. New patch will be live professionally, I believe, next week.
Okay, cool. So this is the legendary Lee Sin Elise patch still, right? Like
Yes.
those are still. Oh well, Zach's also busted, so it makes sense seeing that. What is interesting is the Xayah taking off the table because Xayah Rakan is such a strong combo, but you really don't need to target both of them. You just target one, and then the other is just not as useful. But here, already seen a jungle taken away. Afnet really wants to prioritize this Lee Sin with the Elise off the table.
Yeah, pretty much considered to be the top jungle on the table after Elise is banned away. As we are going to see QQ and Pride lock in what I believe will be their top end jungle with Kennen and Gragas here. We actually saw Kennen fell through both drafts for our first set of the night. Didn't get picked or banned in either. It got banned, It got banned game 1, did not get banned in game 2. So it's quite interesting to see the difference in priorities here, considering we're seeing a lot of other regions prioritizing that number 1. I do like the Rumble pick into the Kennen with the amount of damage you are able to get into the Rumble. However, I do believe this is before the Rumble nerfs, because I think Rumble nerfs was patch 7.12.
Yes, so this is where Rumble is still... Well, it's up in the air whether it's a nerf or not. Basically, this is the wave clear Rumble, whereas the new Rumble isn't a damage Rumble. He goes for those fights, and he can't... That's really the big change that happened there, but this Rumble is just a menace in lane because you just can't push him under tower, and that's what you want to do as a Kennen.
Especially with the changes to Doran's shield, giving him that sustain to deal with the harass, as we are seeing Ashe and Lucian.
Ooh.
The real question is whether or not Emp's going to be taking that into the mid lane once again. He did play that to great success a few weeks back, and was an absolute menace on that champion.
I just want to make a point that technically every champion on Easter's gaming side could be a flex pick. We've seen Gragas support. It could go top, could go jungle. Kennen, probably top, but, I mean, Europe loves it 80 carry. Could
If
go
you're
there.
reckless.
As well as Lucian, if you're reckless. As well as Lucian could be mid or bot side. So I think that Easter's gaming, in a weird way, kind of drafted 3... picks that could go pretty much anywhere, but now the focus is on the bot side, taking away some of those clutch supports, since neither side picked up the high priority ones. The Tom Kench. Thresh is still on the table. I'd expect to see that banned by one of these teams.
We actually did see Thresh go unpicked and banned, so I feel like it's very dependent upon your support here. Lulu, very expected ban here. The real question is are we going to see Zyra being the last ban here for the side of Halfnet and super heavily pinch this support role, so we're really falling down to pretty much Thresh in terms of S tier picks here, which would really force them into a bad matchup because you would expect Easterus Gaming to pick a support here first, as they are actually going to take away that Zyra. So if they don't take away the Thresh here for newbie, I would be very surprised if Bad Milk didn't end up taking that if they don't pick it. But they actually are going to go with the Braum, it looks like here. It is a good matchup into the Thresh. But I just...
As well as the Lucian combo is very potent if Lucian goes bot lane. I actually like... I would like to see Kindless play the Lucian instead of Emp right now, although Emp is typically the carry of Easter's game.
Yeah, he's definitely the ones pulling on the big boy pants whenever he's
got his Spanx on underneath even.
Oh, but we're
Man's
actually going
prepared.
to see Brad, aka Bard, being picked up for Halfnet. But I do still think that's a great matchup for the side of Easter's Gaming because the Unbreakable does stop the Cosmic Binding's second return and only eats the stun on to him. So I still think that's a great matchup. But there's that late game damage we were wanting for Halfnet with the Casio.
Okay, yes, they have a fairly balanced map in AD, AP, early game damage, late game damage, but what they're missing right now is a tank. If Easter's Gaming is able to pick up just another AP damage dealer. They have, I think, a more well-rounded composition. They have pick potential. Recovery Cho'Gath.
I know you
I
would
want
love
it.
it. Oh my god, they actually picked it.
It's Kennen 80 carry. It's got to be Cho'Gath top.
No, dude.
I called it. Kindless, reckless, one and the same. Maybe it's Cho'Gath support Braum top. I've seen it done. Trinity Force Braum, Wit's End. It's OP. Don't knock it.
Dude, on hit Braum top, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, but no, it is Kennen 80 carry. Again, I like the combo with the Lucian. I think that Lucian and Braum have just innate synergy together. But this is definitely more exciting to watch.
This would be, as I would say, it's a spicy meatball coming in from the side of Easer's Gaming.
Somebody's cooking with curry and other spicy things. I can't. I
Curry,
blanking
maybe
on
some
spices.
ghost peppers thrown
There we
in,
go.
you know.
Ghost peppers, habanero, mango habanero. Yeah, they burn, but it feels good on the way down. That should be like the tagline of this stream. Is it burns, but it feels good going down.
I think that might be maybe one step too far. There's Sir Butt Kick.
Could be. This is why they only invite me every other week.
You know, we have to do it in moderation, man.
True.
I mean, they can only handle so much Sir Butt Kick in a weekly portion, so we have to space it out to make sure everyone can survive.
Usually I'm like the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock caster, so I'm on earlier than I'm used to. I'm a little more free, I'm a little loose. I didn't listen to my pre-casting hype music that I usually do.
Well, you did kind of get thrown in here as we are getting into game, which is the most important time of the day.
Oh, it's like breakfast, you know? You gotta have it first. That didn't make any sense. I was trying to make a connection. It failed. Regardless, we have Halfnet with Buckaxe on the top lane. Oh, actually, let's get back to that. There's a cheese going on here.
Well, there is a Braum. And you know what Braum's really, really good at?
Oh. Really good at jumping around and keeping people safe. Right, that's what you're going to say?
With level 1 team fighting. But...
Oh, okay, I guess that works too. He is one of the best supports in the game at that. But Halfnet, they're playing pretty safe. They're not going too aggressive. They're not standing in the bushes that are easily exploited. So I think that they have pretty good positioning right now, but they didn't spot Easer's drop those wards down. They just answered with their own wards. So I think that each team relatively got the same information.
Yes, just trading of deep wards coming in here. However, my biggest question is whether this is going to be an AP show or if it's full tank show. That is the question I have about Pride on this Cho'Gath.
Well, typically, I mean, the Rupture does a lot of damage early levels, but it really falls off scaling-wise. Feral Scream is in a similar situation, scales a little bit better. But typically, the build path I see in solo queue when I watch VODs online, it's you go Rod of Ages first and then into tanks. Get some of that early
so like
AP.
The old Maokai build from like 2 seasons ago.
Essentially, but what I am curious about is will Pride go for Doran's rings? He's starting with a Doran shield, but this is almost just a meta in the top lane, is you go like 3 Doran ring early. That will eventually just help you clear waves, but maybe this is a symbol Doran's shield is just too good.
Well, the difference for, as you do see a nice Cosmic Binding coming in from Bad Milk, is that with...
damage in the mid lane. Exhaust onto M, flash forward! Lesmart gets the first blood solo level 2. That was
We're not even 3 minutes
play.
into the game and we already get a first blood. What is this?
Oh, this is a classic CSL It's Thursday, right? A Thursday night stream. This is what people come to expect as Rod is catching Kukimore in his own jungle. Lee Sin with double buffs, Kukimore with none. Flash from Bad Milk is able to get the Cosmic Guiding slow. Kukimore accepts his fate, and Rada gets another kill. I don't know why I said Rada. Rod gets another kill for the team, and they're going to take another blue buff.
It was a awfully, maybe you were trying to say Rod and Rad at the same time. It was a very rad play from the side of both Rod and Bad Milk. Great rotation. Does expend both the Flash and the Ignite to secure that second kill. But going back to the top lane is I feel like Cho'Gath would be one of those top laners where you really don't need to go Doran's Ring with the amount of sustain that you get with your passive and the Vorpal spikes that you can kind of get away without having to rush those early Doran's Rings that we see on pretty much every AP tank in the top lane.
And you are dealing with a Rumble that would theoretically push you into lane, but here more action in the mid side. Emp, no summoner spells available, and Halfnet doesn't care. Oh, Lesmart with the potion keeping him alive from the caster minion's damage.
And the
really
life steal.
clean played there.
And the spell vamp from the Twin Fangs also giving him the extra tiny bit of XP, but this would be a very, very aggressive game. A lot more aggressive than we saw in the last series as well.
2K gold advantage at 4 minutes. I just want to say that.
No, that's completely normal. That's not out of the ordinary. I don't know what you're talking about.
Or saw Lesmart walk over there, but he doesn't see this recall. He doesn't have vision. He's jumping into the bush, actually lands it. Can he get onto Cassiopeia? He might not want the fight. Will Bugax come down and help out the Cassiopeia? Like, Lesmart is just able to walk into his own jungle, get away from that one.
Yes, but the most concerning part is the CS disadvantage that is building in the favor of Lesmart. He has a super early tier with that first blood gold, so he's going to have that fully stacked by 20 or so minutes, if not sooner than that, depending on how aggressive he's looking to trade in that mid lane. So this is a very accelerated Cassiopeia than what we normally see.
Bad Milk trying to get a little bit far forward in his lane. Or Zycro is comfortably ahead in farm to his lane opponent as well, so I think advantages across the map for Halfnet. The biggest part, though, is look at Rod. He's 2-0-0 on Lee Sin. We were talking about how well Halfnet is able to, or was able to draft a comp that could do late damage as well. Well, they have one of their biggest early threats fed, as well as their late game threat comfortably ahead in the mid lane. So I think that Halfnet is just doing a fantastic job right now. It's going to be really get back from this, especially when Emp is behind. When he plays from behind, Easters just doesn't look as good, and there might be another gank here.
Oh, but there is a control ward there.
There's a ward.
But he did hit level 6, and Flash is still not up from Emp.
Oh, is preparing. He's going around the backside.
Two more is here,
though. Nearby. They see him. Is he actually going to go for it? He's able to land the kick. He's able to Sonic Wave out. And Rod picks up a third kill. Lesmart burns the exhaust, but doesn't even have to use her own miasma. I don't know if it was up at the time, but really well played either way from Halfnet.
Yeah, Halfnet putting in a ton of work around this mid.
What is QQ doing? Petrified Gaze misses. Rod taking up the turret, and they actually get the damage in. Lesmart is just enough. Gets out of turret range in time. And another kill.
We have 5 kills in 7 minutes. What is this game? It's 3,000 gold now.
Casual 3K gold deficit at 6.5 minutes, yeah.
That seems perfectly normal, man. I mean, I talked about before this game is how we're seeing two of the top teams in the CLS in this game, and Halfnet is just really controlling and dominating this early game off the back of the aggression of Rod and Lesmart in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this is very rare to see. Emp is just catastrophically behind in this mid lane. And like we mentioned earlier, in Champ Selects, they gave Emp Lucian because he's the primary carry on their team. When he looks good, the team looks good. When he struggles, that's when the team, sometimes you're like, can they actually get these wins? Can they pull it out? He is 0-3 behind a big 10 CS. And again, it's still so early in the game. Things aren't looking great for Israel's game. Want to come back from this? Where did where did they even put their
Rod
pressure?
wants more blood.
Yeah, they're jumping in onto QQ. Flash body slam. Can they get onto Lesmart? I don't know why they went for that play, as now Newbie's so far forward, and they actually get the Cosmic Bind, and he's able to flash away from it, but Rod is just able to land that Sonic Wave in time. Really good collapse and roam there from Batmilk. I didn't even see the Bard in that area leading up to that, but Halfnet just had that so far ahead.
Yeah, just very excellent communication coming out from the side of Halfnet.
Magical Journey, they're taking it through. Can they get onto EMP? Ooh, Sonic Wave misses. They don't go for the Cosmic Binding either.
But they
Get
get
first
this
turret.
Yep, they do get mid tier 1, so that it's up to 4K now. we're almost averaging a 1K gold per minute advantage for Halfnet.
No, it's a half K per minute.
I said almost.
Okay.
But yes,
But it
it's 500
legitimately
gold
is
per
500
minute
gold
advantage.
per minute advantage.
It's pretty ridiculous. They are going to also secure the Earth Drake here. No vision for the side of Ezurus. If I'm Ezurus Gaming, like, this is extremely concerning because you have pretty much relatively low late game damage with the Kennen and the Lucian, and being so far behind already in this game, like, is really concerning. Yes, you do have a actual tank double front line with the Gragas and the Cho'Gath, but they don't do damage.
Yeah, and they're relying on Emp and Kindless to do that damage. Emp, again, so far behind. Kindless, at least staying even, but this is definitely a tale of the mid lane, as Rod has just been putting so much pressure here. This is why I hate playing top lane. I mean, they were both 0-0-0. Relatively same farm. There's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to Kindless. Does Zelcro go for it? He's forced back under his own turret. He does burn that ultimate, though, so Zelcro in a little tougher of a situation now. Kindless might look for some kind of flash slicing maelstrom play if the opportunity arises.
Yes, but I do think that play is going to wait until newbie hits level 6 and has like Glacial Fissure available, as he is still a little bit behind in XP, as both ADCs are sitting at level 7, and it's a Rift Herald!
Yep, you know what? Is there if ever you've seen a game at 10 minutes and you thought, yep, this could be a perfect game, this is the one. Like, rarely do you make that call this early, but it's a 3.5K gold lead from Halfnet. They have Dragon, they have Rift Herald, they got first turret blood already. The Cassiopeia, who's just going to get scarier and scarier as the game goes, is already so far ahead of the Lucian, who will fall off in the late game. Everything is going the way of Halfnet Gaming right now.
Yeah, they are going to give up a lot of chip damage to this bot tower here, as they are aggressively stopping these lanes here, rotating the Rumble down, putting the Ashe in that top lane, trying to punish the Cho'Gath, but...
I love this play.
Why do you love this play?
Rumble will be able to clear these waves so much better than a Cho'Gath will, so that the Reckless, not the Reckless, the Kennen, I mean basically the Reckless, and the Braum won't be able to really dive him under turret. They're synonymous. But the Cho'Gath just won't be able to deal with the split push pressure of Zycro and Bad Milk, so I think that this is really smart from Halfnet, and they might actually invest Rod up here too.
Though, I think the really scary thing for Ezurus Gaming is Halfnet already has one Earthdrake, the next Drake is also an Earthdrake, and they have a Cassiopeia.
Yep. And they have Rift Herald.
Yeah, so if there wasn't enough control from Halfnet, is they have the composition to do a 20-minute Baron with the amount of damage they have.
As well, yeah, they can drop that Rift Herald in the bot lane, and somebody from Ezurus will have to answer it, and that's exactly when they go for that kind of early Baron play.
Now. They're still pushing top lane for Halfnet. No one's going to be in position to try to stop this. You have Pride trying to back here, but that's a good 30% on that top tower, and they leave mid, and they don't even lose their mid tower. So excellent push of aggression from the side of Halfnet.
Yeah, Ezurus Gaming. Oh, sorry about that. They definitely overcommitted. They sent 4 members from mid lane towards top side. Pride backed, or he didn't complete his back, but started backing on the bot side. I think that they could have done with just sending 2 members up there and kept a little pressure mid.
Pride.
Oh, he's dropping it. Lesmart is there. They're able to get the Petrifying Gaze onto Pride, but he is tanking turret. He's going to have to run away. The turret is racking up massive damage. Bug Axe does not go down, though. He's able to safely juggle the turret aggro between Lesmart and Bug Axe. Really well played again from Halfnet. This is their 3rd turret and a very successful Rift Herald.
Yes. I feel like professional levels of play, you always want to make sure you get at least 1 tower.
Oh, arrow.
Almost caught window shopping.
Yeah, that was a good reaction time from Emp. But also, yep, as you said, he was clearly looking at the shop.
Now, if it was me, I would have been window shopping already. I would have been hit by the arrow and died, and I would have wondered exactly what happened, as Rod is going to take away yet another red buff here.
Oh, it is secured. Kindless and Newbie were waiting. Had vision of the red buff, but they didn't realize that Rod was going to hide it and take it so quickly there. Oh,
Yeah.
They got the word, though. They got the word.
Minor
it's the little
victories.
things.
Minor victories.
Exactly.
It's a 6k gold lead until 13 minutes. This is ridiculous.
For anybody watching this, I'm not looking at the Twitch stream, so I don't know how many viewers we have. But for anybody watching, just pour yourself a drink, get comfortable,
Get some popcorn.
just enjoy the clown fiesta. Get some blow some balloons, maybe do animals, because that is clearly what Halfnet is doing with Users Gaming. They're just stretching them out and contorting them to be just not a top-tier looking team. This is not the form that Users Gaming has had the whole season, as there might be a contest on blue.
Is under fire. You were talking about the Roa build, but it does look like Pride is just going to go for that full tank route with that first pickup of the Spectre's Cowl. But I don't think that matters when you have a double pen with a Leandry's completed on a Rumble. I don't think it matters.
Probably not. But he did opt for the double Doran's ring after the Doran's shield early item start. And you questioned it earlier, and I think that there's a valid point there. How much does it actually help Cho'Gath in particular? Not really wave clearing too much with his abilities, so where does the mana regen come in? I think it's just kind of an awkward build for the Cho'Gath personally. Likes it. Oh, flash away from Zycro. The Rupture is not able to get him. They do secure the Dragon, though. Teleport comes in from Bugax. He's on the backline, but he does go down. It's not a perfect game. There's a Slicing Maelstrom from Kindless, but he just can't get onto the enemy team. Tempered Fate locks down Emp. There is the Miasma stopping him from jumping away. He's going to be going down, and it is Lesmart that picks up the kill. One member walks away with his life, and he just cannot do anything except for push out mid lane as they lose bot turret.
And they did lose the Dragon as well on the backside. Bugax going a little too deep without his Zanyas, ruining the chance at a perfect game. But when you consider the fact it is a 6k gold lead, as we are going to go into the replay here. So you have a Rod focusing the engage. You have the TP onto the pink ward from Bugax. You see Rod finishing the TP. This is a fantastic equalizer because it's forcing the team to either sit in the bottom half of the choke or the top half. You have Kindness going in with the Slicing Maelstrom, but he gets exhausted immediately and not able to output any damage. And unfortunately, Pride's not very tanky yet. He doesn't have enough feast stacks quite yet, so he doesn't have, 6,000 HP Cho'Gath.
That Tempered Fate almost hit Kindless. That was just one pixel off, and Kindless would have been in there. That probably would have been the ace then for Halfnet, because
you know what makes Halfnet even more happy? Next Dragon's a fire.
Oh, gross.
Double mountain with the fire on the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we call it. GG Halfnet. Unless they throw this game is in the bag.
They need to throw multiple times, in my opinion.
Well, unless they stop the pressure, which they haven't been doing. They've been putting pressure everywhere on the map, contesting every objective, every jungle camp even.
Oh, Kindless is pushed out with no wards. He does have his trusty support Newbie floating in the area here, but if anyone steps out, they just die at this point. You've got Tempered
Especially
Fate.
with, the Enchanted Crystal Era and the Tempered Fate. Yeah, you nailed down the head.
I do occasionally make good points. Every once in a while.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'll shut up. I'll let you finish your point. As Halfnet are sieging this top turret, it's just butter. Oh, melts.
Yeah, not in the good type of butter. It's the good type of butter if you're Halfnet, not the good type of butter if you're Ezorus Gaming. Cassius blowing everyone to safety.
That was a really good flash up from Bugax. Honestly, that explosive cast would have killed the Rumble, essentially, if he had not been able to flash just onto the other side of the detonation. So good play there from Bugax. I think if I were in that situation, I would not have assumed that Flash would have taken me far enough to actually get out. But I guess he knows the distance better than I do.
Into the team then?
Oh yeah, I would have been like, screw you, Beryl. I'm just gonna flash into them. I don't need you.
Ultimate overheat. Oh, whole 9 yards into the middle of the enemy team.
Hey, you know what? If he had Zanya's, it might have been a double kill.
He's not quite at the Zanya's yet. It's just this game has just been predicated off the back of Rod and the Smart. They were able to snowball the mid lane so effectively that Emp's essentially completely out of the game at this stage. He barely has one item completed while Cassio has her Roadon, has most of her Seraph's Embrace stacked up, working on her third item already. He's just so far behind in terms of golds in comparison to Lee Smart.
And honestly, I just think there was no reason for up Lee Sin. Once Halfnet banned out the Elise, there's gaming. Yeah, Galio's still a strong ban, but you have to realize without Elise on the table, there's really no other junglers that are like meta right now that can really match the Elise pressure. Elise does a fantastic job of doing that, and Gragas just can't provide that right now. Mid turret taking a lot of damage. Halfnet are playing it slow, but they're playing it calculated. They're not going for too aggressive of plays. I think Bugax burning that flash was maybe over aggression, but other than that, Halfnet's been pretty clean.
Yeah, other than, you know, the one TP into the middle team from Bugax where he died.
And the having to flash that explosive kill.
Yes, Pride was trying to look to possibly set up a flank, but it's just an adaptive Helm on Cho'Gath. It will help him against Cassio and Rumble, but like this Ashe who has a BF sword and a Blade of the Ruin King completed is going to be doing a bunch of damage.
Okay, you know what? I think I figured out the win condition for gaming as Baron is started by Halfnet. Eaters just needs Pride to get strong enough that he can one-shot Cassio with an ult. Explosive cast. Can they actually get the smite steal? Kukimore can't quite get it. Flashes away as Amp is over the wall. Can they get anything for it? There's a really good equalizer coming in, and the fight is turning around on the head of Easter's Gaming. Flash up the wall from EMP, but he still goes down to Lesmart. The rest of the squad of Easter's Gaming are in full retreat, and they might not be able to get out of this, but the slow on the Lesmart was just enough. Easter's Gaming, they just limp away after losing Emp and the Baron.
So you remember about 9 minutes ago, you know, when I mentioned that whole 20-minute Baron thing?
Turns out sometimes you're right. I guess.
Yes. I just, you know, had to remind you so that way people know that I know what I'm talking about sometimes, you know.
Yeah. No, I get you. And this Baron is just ridiculous right now for Halfnet. It gets them 2 turrets in a row. And most of that was just because they were able to clean up Emp, and this was almost clean from Kukimore. He was going for the steal, is able to dodge the arrow, doesn't get hit by the Tempered Fate. 2 ultimates down from Halfnet, but it doesn't matter. The culling just doesn't do enough from Emp. He's trying to jump onto Rod, flash away. Look at this equalizer doing a lot of damage, and it cuts off the retreat path from Kindless and Newbie. They can't help out Emp as he's cut off from the rest of the team because his 4-man squad's forced to retreat. They chase him down. Lesmart, that was a really good barrel coming in from Q, slowing down the Cassiopeia, but they still lost.
So it's a 12,000 gold lead at 22 minutes.
I want to remind everybody, if you're watching from home, prayers are appreciated. Whatever religion you celebrate, Easterus needs it right now because they're in a rough spot, so to say.
Yeah, just a little bit here. We do have the Morello Namicon finish onto the Cassiopeia, and I'm still trying to figure out where Zycro is going with his build. He built a BF sword, and then he built a Zeal. I think he just wants, okay, what stats give me things right now? Let's just buy those items. I don't want to finish.
Well, I believe he had the Zeal first, and then he bought the BF sword, and I gotta think it's going into
Hurricane.
The BF sword.
Yeah, BF sword, it goes into Hurricane now, didn't you know that?
Oh yeah, the new crazy builds. I was gonna say it could be oh, I'm blanking on the title, but here's the fight coming in. Tempered Fate onto Kindless. Good explosive cast though. That's a disengage from Kukimore coming in, but it's only temporary. Baron is still up. Les March just going forward. A really good petrifying gaze, followed by the miasma. They might be able to get Pride. An equalizer cutting off the full retreat of Easter's Gaming. QQ is under turret, but the turrets don't care. Bugax doesn't care. The turrets don't even do damage right now to Hafner. At least it doesn't seem like it. Look at that. Lesmar just laughs at that. And this might be game, honestly.
But
3
death
dragons.
timers are really short, though.
True. But, you know what's shorter is the health bars on these turrets. And now Nexus is the next target. This is going to be game 1 going over to Halfnet in maybe the most stylish way I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, I would honestly say, like, I've watched some perfect games played out, but I don't think they were as dominating as that game was from Halfnet. Like, just from start to finish, it was just complete and utter control following off the back of Rod and Lasmart getting so many early kills in that mid lane. Like, I'm pretty sure Emp had like 4 deaths by like 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, there was not a single moment where things looked okay for Easter. Maybe the first 2 minutes when both teams like counter warded each other's jungles.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, that was an even trade. Good job, Easterus. And then from that moment on, it was just downhill. And that was a steep hill.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, well played, Halfnet. I mean, they deserved that victory for sure. They did a good draft phase. I liked their team comp. They didn't have a tank, but they kind of understood that, and they played around it by doing aggressive plays early.
Yeah, they definitely used that Lee Sin to its fullest potential, getting Lasmart so far ahead. They got a extremely early tier 1 tower in the mid lane. I think they got it either right at the 10-minute mark or just before it. Like, it was a super early take. Immediately transitioned that to getting a Rift Herald, which they used bot lane, getting a tower. And, like, they were just so clean about how they went about. They got a very early dragon lead. They had 3 drakes. They got the 20-minute Baron, which they broke the base with. It was just such a very well-played game from Halfnet that I don't know what you do from the side of Easter's Gaming's. You do have the blue side coming in, so you can look to take away that Lee Sin. Or to go with the Elise if that goes unbanned. But with the status of the game right now, I see no reason for the side of Halfnet to let that pick through. And
honestly, I think the crux was just Sin was able to just get the mid lane so far ahead. That Cassiopeia was just dirty things that shouldn't be. And also, picking the Lucian into Cassiopeia, or I guess it was technically Cassiopeia into. I think that's a really strong pick. Not horrible against him early game. You do decent damage. You have the miasma to stop him from dashing around the fight, and then also if you get ahead, you get really ahead because you can just let it snowball. And if Easter's wants, either got to pick the Lee Sin or take it away from Halfnet.
Yeah, and I mean it's not like he even needed the help because he already got the level 2 all in. So.
True. Yeah, it wasn't even the Lee Sin that got that first blood. With all that being said, though, we're going to take a short break here. Rather, if history proves itself, a fairly long break, just based on this region.
Never know. They might they might run a little bit shorter of a break. You never know with the
We can always hope. The question is there hope left for Easter's Gaming after that first game? Stick around to find out, as we'll be back once the show starts again. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Game 2. Keep in mind, it is best of 2 series. I keep forgetting that in this region, but HalfNet took Game 1 with style and with dedication, I guess you could say. They definitely seemed like they had prepared, and they put in the time to get the right draft, get the right team composition, and play it correctly, but they won't this time. Lee Sin is taken off the table from Easter's Game.
So they're not even showing a preference to first pick that for QQ more. What I'm curious to see is what they look at first picking here. I know on previous patches we saw things like the Karma first pick here, but I don't see that happening on the current patch, and there really isn't too many big priority picks other than that cannon, but is it going to go to Kindness once again? That is the question.
It could, but I think this is a mistake from Easter's Gaming. There's no reason to ban out Lee Sin. HalfNet would have 100% did it if Easter's had left it up, and Easter's then could have essentially had HalfNet's last ban. But instead, HalfNet get to take Galio off the table, which makes should be Kennen top. Flex pick did not work for them last time. I mean, it didn't necessarily have to do with the flex pick specific, but Kennen just couldn't do anything later in the stages. But something that didn't make it last time. Karma now picked up for the side of HalfNet.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and they're going to pick up Bug Axe's Rumble once again. Had some very nice equalizers on that champion. But again, they're showing a lot of priority on this Rumble into this perspective Kennen matchup. Definitely a very strong pick into the Kennen because it's not really a bruiser that Kennen can really bull around with the amount of wave priority you do get.
All right, I don't know if anybody can hear me right now, but Primus's voice does.
I can hear you in and out. Can you hear me?
User in your channel timed out.
Okay, hopefully Sir Buttkick will be coming back here shortly. In the intermediate term, I will be handling it. We did.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, are you sure? Are you positive?
I hope so. I don't know what just happened, but you sounded like a straight robot for a while.
Dude, you sounded like the same thing to me, man. You were like cutting in and out. We do see the Graves, Caitlyn, and an Ashe being picked up to round out ban phase number 1. You still there? Hello? Did I lose myself? So we are seeing LeBlanc being taken away for the side of HalfNet. Still waiting on Ezerspit Gaming's first ban to come up on the table here. Probably going to be looking towards that mid lane or the jungle position. As we're seeing Ivern being taken off the table. Buttkick, are you here? I can't hear you. I think his mic exploded. So we are going to see the Orianna also being taken away here. Still have things like the Syndra, like the Ahri, as Kha'Zix is also taken away.
I just got back.
You were back for a brief second, and then you ran away again. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
All right, yeah, Orianna, has seen a big staying presence in the meta. I'll call it that. It doesn't really seem to matter where the meta goes. Orianna is generally relevant, but I don't know if it's ban-worthy.
I mean, if you're looking to get an advantageous mid lane matchup, because Orianna's kind of like the safe blind pick mid lane, along with Syndra, because there really aren't a ton of counters to either of those champions. I mean, you do have a couple towards Syndra and like a couple more soft counter matchups for the side, of Orianna, but it's not like there's like super hard counters to either of those champions.
User entered your channel.
As we are seeing the Zyra being picked up for the side of Ezer's Gaming, we are waiting on that mid lane pick here, but so far it's an extremely squishy composition for the side of Ezer's Gaming. Probably going to look to something like the Talia or the Syndra here. I think Talia would be a fine pick. However, Cassiopeia is kind of considered the counter pick to Talia, is also on the table. And we saw how well Smart played on that Cassiopeia in the previous game. Oh, but are they going to go style? Are you going to do it, LaSmart? It is one of his favorite champions. Or is he just trolling me? He does lock in the Zed for the mid lane. Oh, dear God. If you wanted spicy, we've got your spice right here in the mid lane.
And like a phoenix from the ashes, her butt kick emerges back onto the stream. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just peachy. It turns out somebody unplugged my Ethernet connection. I don't know why.
They
But
hate it.
I think so. I think that might be. I missed all of that action, but I'm seeing it now. This is a very interesting draft from both teams.
So we have basically 5 squishies versus a team with a Rumble and a Zed.
And an Ash. Catch him out.
I think the Zed and Rumble are a little bit more important to squishies. Not by much, because there is the arrow.
If arrow lands onto Kennen, Kennen's dead. Come on, I'm a play-by-play, but I can make good points too. Just give me this one.
Okay, I'll let you have your 1 point. Your 1 point.
I don't ask for much, Primus. I'm a simple man.
You're a man of few pleasures.
Man of many pleasures. But easy to please. Let's just say that. If tell your mom to give me a call back. Anyway, getting back to
that's her own fault for opening her legs for you. But
oh, PG-13 warning, everybody. We're getting risque
you opened up the
here.
can of worms, so.
We are loading in. On to the Rift, though. Easter's Gaming down 0-1 in the match. Can they bring it back? Keep in mind, 2-game series. They don't get many more shots here. The best they can hope to do is keep it as a tie. And I believe Easter's Gaming is still undefeated. Am I correct in that?
They have not dropped a match, but they have dropped individual games.
Okay,
They're
so
2-0 in matches, but they are they're 6-2 in terms of game record.
all right, so the best they can do is keep that 0 loss record up. Already getting good damage onto Bedmilk's Karma. I don't know what was happening down there, but clearly Karma did not come out ahead.
Assuming he face checked into a Zyra. That is
always a good guess.
That is my assumption, but you know, I don't necessarily know a lot, so.
This is something that Halfnet should be planning ahead for. You don't want to let Zyra get her plants set up on the bot lane this early. You should be sending 4 or 5 members down there, because look at these plants right now. This Zyra is going to be able to do massive damage, clear a whole wave very quickly. They really get kindness ahead.
Graves can solo out the Raptors relatively effectively, meaning they don't need to actually lease for the Graves. So that gives them the ability to set up for this heavy push. But I think everyone is going to be watching this mid lane.
Yeah, can Lesmar turn it around again like last time in the game before he was playing Cassiopeia, that late game skate. This time he's on something much more flashy and almost scarier in a way, because if he gets ahead in the early game, he really snowballs, but there's less of a late game pressure coming in.
Well, I mean, it's less so when there's 5 squishies on the enemy team.
True. But the Ash, man. Why aren't we talking about that? Okay, no, I'm gonna drop
I could
it.
say something, but I won't.
I'm gonna drop
I'll
it.
withhold myself for this.
I'm gonna drop that Ash, if you know what I mean. Emp and Lesmart are exchanging some blows in the mid lane. It goes about even between the two.
But you do have more potions onto the Smart, so trading aggressively like this does favor him. We do see both QQ and Newbie rotating up to that mid lane, maybe looking to try to set up a play here onto the Smart, but as long as he's not using that Shadow aggressively, it's extremely hard to gank his Zed.
That has a lot of escape options, Flash available, Ignite available, so he could even get aggressive onto Emp, who very strong at roaming around, pushing waves in, but not incredibly adept at dealing with mobile targets.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's only so many dives and dodges that you can do on Zed. Rod is being a little bit less aggressive this game. He is on the Gragas, so he's a little bit less early game pressure. Smart eating a bunch of damage from Imp. Does have the Shadow to get away, so does save that flash.
Yeah, but look at his health bar. Emp was ready to back and get an early second Doran's ring, but now he's able to pick up another wave, maybe pressuring, but he's very low on mana.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how this laning phase does continue to develop, as we are seeing the traditional multiple Doran's shields across the board here. I do find it interesting, that Emp did not go for
Hey,
the
I can
Doran's.
tell you're interested.
Yeah,
Flash forward from Rod.
Flash body slam does miss, does trade flashes with Emp, but Ignite was burned, as well as flash from the Smart for very little gain, and you do still have the exhaust for that level 6 all-in.
Yeah, this was Halfnet trying to do the similar thing they did last game, but last time they did it, they had a different comp and they were against a different camp. And Emp burned Flash early last time in the 1v1. Rod getting caught out now. Oh, Blast Cone almost taken with QQ more, but Rod does get to safety.
Oh, unfortunately, Gragas is a little bit mobile as I champ, though QQ Moore is still looking for some fun up here in the top lane.
Yeah, can he actually catch it? He's just deciding to back instead. Rod, you're not on this hyper-aggressive early-game jungler. You gotta respect the damage a Graves can output this early in the game. He's actually going for his Krugs. It's a little greedy. Pride and Kukimore coming around onto the backside. Flash forward from the Graves. He's able to get the double damage from the Q. One more auto does get him the kill. That's first blood going to Easter's Gaming. They might want more, though. Bug Axe is forced under his own turret. He's fairly low.
Yeah, not quite level 6, so doesn't have that same level of turnaround potential on that Rumble, but they do get first blood for Easter's Gaming, so they're already doing 100% better than they did in the last game.
Technically, yes. And can they keep it going is the question. That Halfnet, they did incredibly well when they got a big lead early. But can they still perform well and smart when they're not ahead? That is the real test of how good a team truly is. Can you win from behind?
It's entirely possible. It's going to be interesting to see how this laning phase continues to play out. Most lanes are all pretty much even in terms of farm, so no real massive advantaging coming in on the table right now. So if I was the side of Isurus here, you have the advantage onto the Graves. You should be looking to try to set up invades and deep plays because you do have the massive roam potential with the Talia to easily follow up any plays that the Graves makes. So you should be looking to try to push his advantage over Rod right now rather than just having Graves continue to farm his own jungle.
The Graves has first blood. He has advantage, but look at the items. It's not incredibly bleak for Rod at this moment. It's a longsword and boots, so Graves will be able to roam around the map and do more damage, but hey, it's not an entire item. It's not a half item like it was at this point for Halfnet against Easter's last game. We're already 7 minutes in, got first blood, but relatively tame compared to what we saw last time.
Yeah, there was already like 5 kills at this point in the game.
But it might be a dragon taken early as Easter's game start up the mountain drag. No vision around this. Got to expect it. Newbie's not in lane. They actually went for a lane swap Halfnet. So this is really smart from Easter's game. Can't send the Caitlyn, or sorry, rather the Ashe and Karma to contest this because they're topside. So it might be trading first turret for first drag.
Which I think is kind of a toss-up in terms of gold. Because, especially since it's an Earth Drake, ooh, Ignite was but the flank.
Really, really good play there from Pride coming in on that side. And honestly, I don't even know if Halfnet will be able to secure this top turret. They have a wave, and it is about half health. They gotta rush it fast, though. I think if you're Halfnet, this is a good trade. You lost the drag, which is bad for late game, but at least you're able to get the first turret, which will help you in the early game, which is
No, they're not
right
even gonna
now.
get it.
true. This is just not looking good. Oh, there's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Newbie. Heal comes out, though, from Kindless. Flash. Heal used from bot side. It's only summoner spell available. They can't do that again, and Zycro will have that Enchanted Crystal Arrow up again soon.
Yeah, it's gonna
You gotta
be
be careful about your positioning.
Yeah, it's going to be about an 80-second cooldown on that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. You need to be extremely careful, newbie. You aren't playing Braum this game.
You don't have Unbreakable.
I mean, your will may be unbreakable, but your champion is not.
Speed boost coming in. There's the Talia wall, Weaver's wall, plus QQ coming in on the Bad Milk, but he flashes away. QQ taking a lot of damage from the turret, but Zycro might be the one to fall. Ace in the hole is not up for Kindless. Give it about 10 more seconds. He could take down Zycro, but he's just not going to have the opportunity. And honestly, I don't think that QQ should have backed there. I think that if they had pushed this wave in, they might have gotten first turret themselves, but I guess they didn't have the wave.
The smart going hunting for a squishy.
Ooh, he's the Zed.
Nope.
Can't find it.
Darn.
You hype me up like that, I want something to happen. Come on, Primus.
Hey, it's
doing
not.
to
I'm
me.
sorry. I'm not a mind reader. Okay. I don't always see the future. I always see it like 0.6% of the time.
What's surprising to me right now is Emp playing Talia is behind in CS to Lesmar. Lesmar did give up that first, or not first blood, but did give up a kill to the enemy team. But hey, he actually has an advantage when it comes to CS in lane. Top side, Bugax doing all right when it comes to CS in lane. It's kind of answered by the bot side though. So I think really the big thing is Q is having a bigger impact this game, but there's Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Zed's jumping in. There's a Death Mark. They pick one up, but can Lesmar get out? He's flashed away. Flash forward from Kindless, and the built-over Peacemaker picks up the kill. That's a tongue twister. Half Rod does jump over the wall straight into Pride Blast Cone. Maybe to safety. Flashes the auto, but you can't flash that, son. He goes down. And Pride picks up a kill for his team. 4-1. It's not a perfect game for Isurus.
Yes, but these arrows have been very on point from Zycro this game.
Honestly, they're not in a bad place. Pride is getting a little aggressive. Teleport completes from Bugax. He is nearby.
He has Equalizer.
It is available. Is he going to drop it? I want him to drop it and cut off the retreat path from Isurus Gaming. I think that they could take this fight, but Zycro is pretty low on mana, so I guess they decide to back off.
Yeah, you don't have any pet items yet finished up onto the Rumble. You just have that Seeker's Arm Guard completed here. And you mentioned that CS advantage, but it's pretty much equalized in the mid lane. I believe that difference really stems from the fact that while Emp rotated top lane with the Weaver's Wall, the
Coming in. Zycro's low on mana. Flash available. They're getting in onto QQ. Flash forward, but a really bad equalizer from Bugax. Not where it needed to be. And I think that Zycro and Bugax will both go down here. There we go. Kindless does pick up the kill, but Rod will be able to answer it. Auto attacking with his belly. But Emp does pick one up on the backside.
But they get first tower.
They did. But honestly, if Bugax, that was just a really strangely placed equalizer.
I feel like he quick casted
I don't know if that was where he wanted it to go. I think if he had just angled it a little bit more and not had it just go straight perpendicular to the wall, it could have been a much better situation there for Halfnet, but it's really difficult to aim.
Yeah, it's not.
I say it like it's easy. I say it like I could have done that, but
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
there's a point to be
probably
made
could have
that
done it.
you
I
know,
mean, I'm a
nerves
Rumble
have
one-trick
something to
captain.
do in this game. As Halfnet were so dominant before, and now they're kind of struggling to keep that dominance going. The gold is only 500 apart, but they gave up Dragon, and that will only help Isurus more and more as Caitlyn's.
And we have another Earth Drake. Apparently, this is the Earth Drake series of the week.
It's better than when you get like 3 Cloud Drakes and 2 Oceans, and both teams split them evenly. You're like, well, no one does anything, and
They
really
run
no
really
advantages.
fast, okay? They run really fast. That's the story of this game.
And we were talking about just a couple minutes ago the CS difference of these bot laners, the 80 carries. Well, now CS really ahead for Kindness, but the bigger thing, 3-1-2 as opposed to Zycro's 0-1-1. I just don't think that this Ashe can deal with K or Infinity Edge is completed, as well as almost Berserker's Greed. Poke onto Newbie. Ooh, good Mantra Q, but QQ is here. This should be turret falling down. They're actually diving under turret. QQ with an easy, clean pickup. Doesn't even tank turret.
Yeah, good
pick up the
play
stop.
from Newbie, making sure he's the one taking that turret aggro, allowing QQ to go for the finish off with the end of the line. So very well played dive from Isurus. This looks like an entirely different team from game one.
And honestly, again, it comes down to Rod not having that Lee Sin. He's playing Gragas. He can't make plays as early as he was before, but you look at early plays, QQ getting onto Bug Axe. Equalizer goes down, but again, it just isn't where it needs to be. Kindness just able to sidestep away. Lesmar gets aggressive, goes in, goes down. Can Rod get anything for this? The arrow lands. There's the explosive cast, but he's taking a lot of damage from M. Can he get away? He can't. Bad Milk can't even kill Newbie. And he's able to flash over the wall, take the blast cone! He goes down to Amp, Weaver's Wall over the wall, and picks up another kill.
Yeah, this is a bunch of very unadvantageous skirmishing because meanwhile, Pride's just be like, okay guys, have fun top, I'm going to split push bot, okay?
Exactly what a Kennen does for a team. He's that split push pressure. If the team fights elsewhere, he can join the team fight with Slicing Maelstrom, but usually it's just more advantageous whatever lane you're in, communicate that with your team. Say, hey, don't get over aggressive. Don't try to all in the rumble over his equalizer. Just sidestep it. Look at this placement here. Trying to secure his retreat, but he drops it so far back. If he had dropped it closer to where Lesmart was, I think that Lesmart might have been able to survive for a little bit longer because it would have pushed away the Zyra a little bit more. She was really able to just walk around the whole ultimate and get so much damage. Bad Milk just didn't really react fast enough to take that blast cone. But either way, it's just well played from Easters.
Yeah, Bug Axe hasn't really been as on point with his equalizers as he was in game one. Despite Zycro landing almost every ult he's fired today, I think he's missed 1 out of 4 ultimates, which I think is a pretty good batting average if I do say so myself.
10 homers. Well, no, he's the team sets him up to hit a grand slam, but then it turns out that they were able to get the ball back to home base somehow and just strike every single member out as Lesmark does go in onto QQ Dragon is secure. Can Zed actually get out of there? He's able to get the kill, but ace in the hole will be enough to take him down. Almost really good play there from Lesmart, but unfortunately that Caitlyn can join fights from so far away.
Yeah, unfortunately the ace of the hole is a targetable ability, and you can't really dodge it as Zed once your death mark is down.
True. Maybe if it was still up, he could have done something, but using kill on QQ definitely worth it. Losing the dragon, not at all.
And you get another Earth Drake.
Exactly. Oh boy.
Albeit, I don't think either team really has a good team to really do Barons, so there's that.
Well, but turrets. Caitlyn, CG turrets with 3 Earth Drakes is a little disgusting to think about. Like, it might have aroused me slightly at first, but then I realized just how annoying that would be to play against.
I think Jinx would be worse with Triple Mountain, but that's just because I'm a Jinx player. But a little bias coming in there.
Yeah, you know, in professional scene, I would give it to Caitlyn.
Yes.
In Bronze 5, like you play in, sure, Jinx would be better at taking turrets. I agree with you there.
Hey, at least I'm Bronze 5, you're still stuck in Wood 7, so...
Oh, you know what? That's just my Smurf, baby. You think my main's not in Challenger? Playing with QD every day.
Oh,
this
geez.
has devolved into just pure madness as Easter's Gaming looks to still be in charge.
This last game.
I think last game we had more right to do this, but This one's a little closer. I mean, gold lead at 18 minutes is still extreme. 4K in the advantage of Easters. They have the double mountain, but it's a big but. But I will still say it. HalfNet has a chance to come back, at least more of a chance than Easters did last game. Let's talk a little bit about how HalfNet can come back from this. What's their win condition right?
Basically keep Lasmart in a side lane and just have him just fight whoever comes to try to fight him, because I don't think Kennen can actually effectively 1v1 him. And the chat's just like, wait, how is Graves, Kennen, Talia, and Caitlyn not good at taking Baron? It's just like, well, Talia doesn't actually have great Baron damage because you only get one good rotation off with the worked crown, possibly two with just how wide that space is. So you're really only getting one rotation.
Ooh, arrow flashed away from Emp. QQ has to flash as well. That was the equalizer that we were waiting for. Catches out QQ. He has nowhere to go. And Bug Axe with one play turns it around for the team. A really good ultimate coming in from Rumble, burning so many summoner spells from the enemy team, and is able to just walk away. It's a good pickup from HalfNet, but they got to get something more for this now. They're looking to pressure mid.
They did still lose the Rift Herald, though, but they do get a couple kills, and they're going to lose bot tier 2 for mid tier 1 here, so I don't think that's...
Maybe they get the mid-tier 1. They can't actually get it. They don't have the minions, and they're playing against a Talia Caitlyn. This wave clear is ridiculous, even when Caitlyn doesn't have that static shift completed. So HalfNet, they end up actually losing that. Even though they get the pick, they lose their bot turret, and they can't get anything else around the map.
I mean, they're getting kills, but they're losing on the map, as you said, but... when you have Zed with as many kills as he has his 2 items completed, there really isn't anyone who can effectively deal with him in a side lane. Because I think once he gets a little bit more damage on, I don't even think the Kennen will be able to sit in a side lane safely against this Zed at this stage of the game.
I mean, you brought it up early. This Zed has 5 squishy targets to jump on, but he can only really burst 1. That's the key. If Zed is able to catch somebody out, I think that it's really good for HalfNet to play around Lasmart, but aren't giving him that opportunity. They're always grouped up except for Pride. Pride is the only one solo in lane, and that's what you keep bringing up, is send Lasmart to answer the... not Bug Axe. Bug Axe is better in a team fight than Zed. Zed is better in a 1v1 than the Rumble, and I definitely agree. I think that HalfNet is playing this...
Ooh, you kind of got out a little bit, Buttkick. You still there?
I am. Did you hear me?
You kind of cut out at the end there, so I didn't catch the last part of what you said about HalfNet.
Basically, I was saying you're right about everything, and I'm sorry I ever doubted you.
I can go with that. I can.
Essentially, the vibe that I was giving.
I can do that. I can handle this. Like, I don't get total right, so I can deal with that. But I mean, M can sort of deal with the Zed because he does have the Zonya's Hourglass completed. However, if the Smart is ever able to burn that preemptively without the death mark, and then that just kind of seals the fate, because you do have QQ on the bot side of the map. If he shows, like, there's no reason for them to
arrow up. Psycho has arrow up. If it's able to land on the Kindness, they can't quite get it, but they're initiating anyway. There's a Zyra ultimate. It turns around horribly. And look at the Rift Herald plays bot lane. Teleport completed from Pride, but a really good ultimate coming in from the Gragas. Rod with those explosive casts on point. Equalizer dropped. I don't know if I like that. Neither team has good initiation right now. They burned it all.
Well, Kindness is dead.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Kindness died to the Equalizer.
Oh, okay. Just kidding. Really beautiful play, Bug Axe. Genius in your time. Misunderstood by many around you, specifically me. So HalfNet, I guess, have an advantage. Look at that.
But Rift Herald continues to shove up this bot lane. I don't know if it'll be able to get to tower. I think Bug Axe will be able to clear it out. So they don't actually get anything off of the Rift Herald, but they are going to get another Earth Drake, and they just look at Baron and it dies now. And
blows the zone. Yes, can his team keep him alive? He goes down. They also got Kindless. There's a slicing Maelstrom, and look at Pride! He's able to pick one up off the back end. Actually, it was more that gets that one. What actually picked up that? Was that a smoke screen that got the kill? I think it might have been.
It's possible. But
Lateral
like
damage seemed like it was on cooldown,
the long road to kill mid-tier 1. Oh dear God, that shift proc onto Bug Axe though.
Yeah, you know what? It was all planned. It was the lawn con to get the mid-turret dragon secured, but look at Zyker's position here. He's keeping Newbie away as they're able to get onto Emp. Exhaust burned onto Lesmart, and Pride, okay, it was, I believe, the Equalizer that picked up the kill. Afnet do come ahead of that. They get mid-turret finally. It seems like they're always so close to making a play after winning a fight, and this time they're finally able to pull it off. That's good news for the squad, as they're only about 3k behind, 2.5k behind Acer's game. As long as they can stop this Baron from going down against the triple Mountain Drakes, they have chances to win these team fights with the Gragas and the Rumble combo.
As well as all the AoE that you are going to get from your Ashe. Like, you can't underestimate the amount of damage Ashe can do in confined spaces when she has that Ranger's Focus fully stacked and can get multiple rotations off in a team fight. I think Riot is scripting because we now have a Infernal Drake next dragon. I think this is scripted.
I think Halfnet picks this up and then Lesmart just solos anybody, right?
I don't even think he needs that because he's going for a Duskblade next.
True. You know, it could be a Guardian Angel. You never know.
Well, Longsword doesn't build into GA.
You know what? No, you just...
You just gotta believe. Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. You know, Duskblade does make a lot more sense. It allows that vision control, especially when they're on Baron, but he doesn't even see because of the smoke screen coming in from QQ more. Lesmart burned a little low. Ace in the hole gonna burn him a little bit more. Collateral damage! Takes 2 ults, but it forces the back. This is when Isurus should go for Baron. They have Pride pushing the bot side. It just makes sense, but unfortunately, Newbie backed. They can't pressure this Baron. I don't know why they burned the double ultimates yet. They'll be up soon, but this allows Halfnet to actually pressure Baron now.
Yes, it is a very untimely back from Newbie, but I'm assuming he needed to restock his wards. He did pick up that locket, which I actually think is a very good pickup for the side of Isurus Gaming because you're more wanting the instant shield against Zed than you are the redemption, though I would have liked to see more damage coming from Zyra, but...
Oh, Weaver's Wall! They're trying to catch out Lesmart! Blows the Zoni's Hourglass running away. He is not invisible in that brush. Can he 1v4? He's going in onto Kindless. That's the member he needs. He's actually able to jump away. Is he going to get out of this? Lesmart on the minion wave, just running away from the enemy team. Blast going from QQ more with the flash auto with the Q. Picks up the kill, but
yeah,
in the meantime,
they're losing mid.
Halfnet taking mid, but look at bot side. Pride pushing in as well. Baron started. Halfnet, they're split across the map. They want to go bot. They want to go Baron. Here's teleport coming in. Equalizer onto the backline. Baron secured from QQ more. And Easters Gaming should be able to just back reset.
Yes, but they did get the TP out of Pride, so he wasn't able to sit in that bot lane and push with that newly secured Baron. So that does give them a little bit of time while these waves need to reset and get to be re-pushed by Isurus Gaming to really get the pressure out of this Baron. A little bit far ahead from Lesmart. Does burn a lot of time, though, and get the flash off of QQ more, though. So that could be very crucial in this next team fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very small thing, but he ran into the jungle as opposed to running straight down lane. Yes, there was a turret, but if he was looking to buy time and knew he was either way, I think it would have been more advantageous to run straight in lane, hide in that brush, make QQ more walk over to you as opposed to taking the last cone. But here he's going back in, exhaust onto Lesmark. Does just jump back out to the hey, they burned a summoner spell from Newbie, but look, Emp still has exhaust himself, so Lesmart, you can't do that too many times until it goes really poorly for you. He's jumping back in onto QQ more, goes down to Emp though, and Lesmart is not up for HalfNet now. Mid turret isn't either, and things are just falling apart. Acer's Gaming running away with game number 2. They lost the first one, but that just made them angry, and you wouldn't like them when they're angry. They're pushing every single
HalfNet
lane.
likes them when they're angry.
True. Maybe Acer's Gaming fans would.
Well, I hope they like it when their team is angry, because that generally means their team is winning.
True. Well, okay, it means their team lost, but then we'll win the next one. Right? Ace in the hole coming out again, used as more of a zoning tool, burning as much damage as possible.
So that Crow chunk really low. I don't think he can actually stay in wave clear this very safely.
Weaver's wall actually keeps QQ more off of that top inhibitor. I don't know if Emp planned that. They flash over the wall into Zycro. Collateral damage gets the kill, but here we go. Can Rod get anything for it? He doesn't. Goes down. Bugrex is able to pick one up on the backside with Lemart. Look at this bot side, though. Pride, can you get the inhibitor? It does go down. You got to get out now. Bad Milk, Bugax are on to the cannon. Lemart is here as well. This is the damage that they need. Can Zed get in before Bugax goes down? Gets the kill. Newbie can't hope to get this mid turret alone, and he's the only member up for Easter's game. So it looks like it went poorly, but they got turrets and they got bottom inhibitor. I still think that was advantageous.
Yeah, they got all of the inhibitor towers and one inhibitor. However, they are going to lose this Infernal Drake.
True. I was right. Lemart, he gets it.
As if Zed wasn't doing enough damage.
On to 5 squishy members, right? You gotta keep saying that. And Infernal Drake is secured. Actually, Bad Milk that picks. Good support right there.
Okay, we won't have another dragon. It will be an infernal. It will be the infernal as the final dragon. As our next dragon should be the elder dragon. They should be able to update that shortly. Yep. So I think if you're HalfNet, you don't let Ezreus get that dragon, because I think 6 Earth Dragons sounds almost as terrifying as 6 Fire Dragons. But that's just me.
When there's a Caitlyn and a Graves, probably. And a Kennen. Yep, you know what? Just sprinkle the Kennen on top for fun.
Just for
Why not?
funsies.
Aaron, not up soon here, but Israel's acting like it is. Actually, spending a lot of time around this area, but not spending time getting wards. I think that they're just up. But look, HalfNet's in the area too.
Da-dun.
Dun Enchanted Crystal Arrow Lance. Mark goes in with the body slam coming in from Rod. Can they get QQ more? He's still alive. How is the Grave still alive? He doesn't go down. Equalizer might be able to pick him up. Bugax does get that one. Can he get onto Emp? He turns his focus onto Kindless. Kindless picks one up, but he goes down. Guardian Angel is up though, and Bugax just can't get any more for it. The Caitlyn lives. Pride picks up the kill, and he chases down the rest of the members of HalfNet. Rod, Bad Milk, you got to get back to your base. Look at these super minions taking down the Nexus turrets. Teleport coming in from Pride. This might be the game. Easter's Gaming is looking to close it out right now.
Yeah, Pride going in with the TP. He has a bunch of attack speed as this Kennen. There's no ultimates or anything to try to keep Kennen off the Nexus. What
you got to do something.
Rod, do something.
Just do it. No, they keel over and they die. As Pride with the teleport
They go
play.
out with a whimper rather than a bang.
True. But well played from Ezreal's Gaming, turning around game 2 and still undefeated. Yes, they've given up games, so they've tied a couple teams, but they haven't given up 2 against the same team.
So they are still playing quite well, but I feel like their performance in game 1 is very concerning if you're an Ezreal's Gaming fan, given how poorly they dealt with the amount of pressure that a very aggressive jungler like Rod, who got his hands onto the Lee Sin, was able to make so many plays on the map in respect to QQ more. And if that's going to be the method that's going to be telling the tale of their season, I would be extremely concerned if you're Ezreal's Gaming.
Yeah, they gotta be more careful in the pick and ban phase, but hey, at least there is hope. When they're on the Rift, it seems like they're playing well as long as they have a team composition that makes them. They had really good picks there. I liked what they were able to phase, kind of capitalizing on some of the the bans that were coming in from HalfNet, still managing to have a very good team composition. Rod was forced onto the Gragas, which he just didn't look comfortable on. I'd like to interview him if it possible, but unfortunately I don't speak whatever these individuals are.
Spanish.
Okay, Spanish, there we go. I knew that. I am geographically Brit. And with all that great analysis, my God, give me an Emmy. I have been Sir Buttkick, joined by Primus for a really fun series. Highs, lows for both teams, but at the end of the day, it's a tie across the board between the two. Still, two of the best in the region. Primus, anything you want to say before we sign?
I want to thank everyone for tuning in. The whopping 4 viewers we have. That is 4 more than I anticipated
you know what?
had.
My 4 favorite people, and one of them is me.
And I think we know how that list goes. It was a great series for both of these teams. Both teams having a very dominating performance. And I think everyone can agree that these are going to be the two teams battling for the first place in our CLS Closing Cup to see who can try to qualify for Worlds. And you know, that's where everyone's pointing to.
Exactly, so stick around. We still have more games coming later tonight. I'm just going to break for the analysts in the CLS region to do their analysis, and we'll be right back for the next game round. We'll be back shortly.